Shazoo again, tackled by Danglisser. Shazoo's ahead in front. Danglisser can't get there or not. No, Shazoo. He's got there by a nose. Second goes to Leveil, Stephen Master. And third, number 8, in a flurry. Sky Heights provides Colin Alderson with his first Caulfield Cup. And David Oliver is 4th. Last of the millennium. Stalls are back there racing. And they've jumped in a perfect line too, with Make No Mistake going back at the start. Reduced Choice and Sunlight away quickly. Tie the Knot wearing it down. Sunlight in front. Tie the Knot ducks in. And New Zealand takes the Cox Plate with Sunlight.
Darren rode him absolutely perfectly, and it's the stable's first on-cast to win it, so everything's been a great day. Straight to the lead, and they couldn't catch him. Has played in New South Wales, $13.90 and $4.50. Fairway. Taylor Nutt, he's going home better. What a horse! Dana on the stand, presses the button off, and Bell de Jour bundles it started. The rider almost went over ahead. And Bell de Jour right through the middle. Freakish win. Bell de Jour almost fell at the start. Kept the golden slipper.
And here's Pace Invader. She's dashing through in the centre. The Boulders race to the lead and upset into Thornton, and Pace Invader took on.
Rapid Man in front. Look at Reenac. He's charging on the outside. Reenac went to Rapid Man. Reenac first.
Your racing radio station in Melbourne, Sport 927. In Perth, Racing Radio 1206. In Brisbane, 4TAB. And in Adelaide, Tab Radio are proud supporters of the 18th edition of the Australasian Racing Year for season 1999-2000. Once again, Raceplay is joined in this production by Sky Channel, your satellite sporting network.
Welcome once again to the Australasian Racing Year, our annual review of the Group 1 races from both Australia and New Zealand. This video series is now the backbone of many racing libraries because it began in the year when Kingston Town was king, when Gurner's Lane won the Melbourne Cup, and when Grosvenor, Masquet and Strawberry Road were our classic three-year-olds. The generations have now changed, but the racing remains just as good, in fact undoubtedly better. This year we watched in awe as Sunline, the champion New Zealand mare, effortlessly transformed her three-year-old form into a Cox Plate demolition. We saw the emergence of a new star three-year-old called Fairway, who went within one win of achieving something even Kingston Town couldn't do. And that Grand Warrior Tie the Knot won another 3 Group 1s, taking his overall tally to 10, equalling the modern-day standard established by the mighty Octagonal. The new Group 1 season began as it always does, with the Manikato Stakes at Moonee Valley. On this occasion, it gave us an insight into a young thoroughbred of rare talent.
Sedation pulled around the outside of Saboom, and Flavour back on the fence last of all. Transparent Lover's gone. Isker a half in front of Reduced Choice. The grey final tempo is 3 out. Then Mastic. Sedation coming into it now from Joshua's Pride as Reduced Choice lays it down to Isker at the 400-metre mark, and the big colt moved up on the outside now to get ahead in front of Isker. A length and a half Mastic. Then Sedation final tempo. 2 lengths Flavour. Reduced Choice is shot to the front. Isker's gone. Mastic after Reduced Choice at the 200-metre mark, and the big colt clear. Reduced Choice by 2 to Mastic. A gap in the race, then Flavour. But Jimmy, it was worth the big wasting here because Reduced Choice, he might be anything. And Reduced Choice takes a Manikato. 1.5 Mastic, 2 away, 3rd Flavour.
As you'll soon see, that certainly wasn't the last we'd see of Reduced Choice. The Vic Health Cup is the next item on the Group 1 agenda, and this year it represented a mouth-watering clash of the 2 best spring 3-year-olds, Reduced Choice and Testarossa. The handicapper did neither cold any favours by issuing a stern historical challenge to carry 54.5 kilos, or in other words, 4.5 kilos overweight for age. Nevertheless, the public sent out Reduced Choice as the 9-4 favourite, with Testarossa second elect at 5-1.
Heading up towards the 600 Carnelian Umrun, the 2 leaders from Rancho Spark, they're outside. A length further back, City Kid driving around the outside to 4th from Plaska. Over on the inside then came Go Flash Go, Reduced Choice coming wide around, Testarossa searching for a run. Then Nina Haraka and Blue Storm as they corner, and Reduced Choice is right off the track. It's Rancho Spark with Testarossa coming after him. Umrun Carnelian the fence, and here's Big Reduced Choice coming, followed by Nina Haraka. Testarossa took the lead from Rancho Spark. Reduced Choice and then Umrun. It's Testarossa clear 100 out. He's kicked away by 2. Nina Haraka's coming after Testarossa. Testarossa digs deep, finds and wins. Testarossa magnificent over Nina Haraka. Reduced Choice has run a bold 30, covered a lot of ground.
This brilliant win by Testarossa set up a return clash between these 2 great 3-year-olds in the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas the following month.
And he sets a reasonable tempo, about a neck clear. Second is Align. Pins is out 3 wide by the 800. Testarossa follows his great rival on the rails. This could be set up for something special. Next Command Sedurka out wide. A length and a half further back, Honour the Name from Mr. Endurance and Dangerous travelling 3 wide. 2 lengths further back, Akabilk, Anarchy Walk and Diatribe. Then Prince Benbara as they neared the corner and Oval Office last of all. Align moved up to put some acid to the leader, Reduced Choice, who still has a little bit left in the tank. Testarossa, Oliver's just waiting and waiting. Reduced Choice left the fence. There's the run for Testarossa if he's got enough. Align coming at them on the outside with Pins. They reach the 200 and Testarossa sprinting very fast has moved up and has gone to the lead over Reduced Choice. Cassidy had to pull the whip and then Pins. It's Testarossa clear though. Reduced Choice is coming again. Testarossa has to find. Reduced digs. He lunges and wins. Reduced Choice beat Testarossa. A magnificent Guineas.
In the early Melbourne weight for age races, 2 horses had been dominant. One was the AJC Australian Derby winner Sky Heights, who had blown away his opposition in the Group 2 Craigley Stakes at Flemington. The other was the previous year's 1,000 Guineas winner in a flurry, yet another daughter of the mighty New Zealand sire Zabeel. Both these members of the Colin Alderson stable lined up at Caulfield on September 19 for the Group 1 Underwood Stakes over 1,800 metres.
Dignity Dancer with the message on his outside, a length and a half figurehead. 4th into Gaze and then Sky Heights on the outside about to go. Then Steel Phoenix followed further back by In a Flurry in traffic as they corner. Dignity Dancer trying to find his form, led the message round the turn. Into Gaze is coming on and then Sky Heights the widest as they corner. Dignity Dancer's not yielding, he's kicking strongly. Here comes Into Gaze though. Into Gaze at the 200, sprinting fast, took the lead from the message. Then Sky Heights, but Into Gaze is racing clear. The Sydney side is 3 clear from Sky Heights on the message and Into Gaze magnificently. Won it from Sky Heights in a flurry, got 3rd.
For the past few seasons, Into Gaze has been the giant killer of Australian racing. But after this smashing victory over Sky Heights and in a flurry, the press was hailing the arrival of a new giant. We'll be seeing more of Into Gaze later in the Australasian Racing Year. In Sydney, the AJC Spring Carnival was beginning to unfold. And an early highlight was the reappearance of the Doncaster winner Sunlight in the Group 1 George Main Stakes. The mare had inflicted a controversial defeat on Tie the Knot in the Group 2 Warwick Stakes a few weeks earlier and was now progressing on the same path taken by the fellow Kiwi mare Tycoon Lil 12 months earlier. The George Main Stakes has been a great race for the junior generation, and this year the 3-year-olds were represented by Shogun Lodge, the minor place getter in Catbird's Golden Slipper Stakes the previous autumn.
Adam shows the way, only a half length on the great mare from New Zealand, Sunline, and she cantered up to Adam and put paid to him. 2 lengths to Northern Drake, followed by Perfect Paradise and Dangerous, and a break of a length to Shogun Lodge. They race down to the 200, Sunline, a half length on Adam, and here's Shogun Lodge. Shogun Lodge is out after Sunline. It's Shogun Lodge bridging the gap on Sunline. The 3-year-old Shogun Lodge hits the front, and away he goes. Shogun Lodge, and another big one for Shane Dye.
Shogun Lodge is a member of the first crop of the Dewhurst Stakes winner Grand Lodge, who shuttles between the Ingham Brothers Woodland Stud and Coolmore in Ireland each year. The powerful chestnut was a $200,000 yearling purchase, who has now comfortably recouped that purchase price with abundant interest. The Shogun Lodge team is an experienced one, trainer Bob Thompson and jockey Shane Dye. 7 days later, they were back at Randwick on another mission, this time the Group 1 Spring Champion Stakes. Their danger was the Danzero gelding Fairway from the Jack Denham yard. This tall black 3-year-old had previously won the Peter Pan and Gloaming Stakes and was aiming to become the first horse since Sir Dapper in 1983
to land a spring Triple Crown.
And Fairway straightens up 3/4 of a length on Angling, 3 lengths then to Getty, and Dye goes to the extreme outside on Shogun Lodge. He's still 4 lengths off Fairway at the 200. Fairway from Angling on the outside. Shogun Lodge is coming home. Great guns now. It's Fairway in front. Shogun Lodge is trying hard to whittle down the margin. He's making a good fist of it. He races up to Fairway. Oh, Fairway kicked on the inside. By golly, this is close.
The AJC Spring Carnival also hosts a Group 1 race for 3-year-old fillies, the Flight Stakes over 1,600 metres. The form filly in the lead-up races was Dan Glisser from the Gay Waterhouse stable, and she was sent out favourite at 11 to 8 on.
Straightening up in the Flight Stakes, and Dan Glisser swept to the front from the Golden Dane. Third posse is Miss Zoe, and then Forest Express followed by Hutt. Dan Glisser is the leader. Chrissy Muntz goes for the whip. Miss Zoe battles on, so does the Golden Dane, but it's Dan Glisser the leader. This outstanding filly is holding the Golden Dane and Miss Zoe, and Dan Glisser, she is outstanding.
This was a debut Group 1 win for Sydney syndicator Denise Martin and her company Star Thoroughbreds, which had purchased Dan Glisser for $45,000 at the Magic Million sale. The win completed a rare double for the first crop sire Dan Zero, winner of the 1994 Golden Slipper Stakes, and now a member of the Arrowfield Stud Stadium lineup. Sunline's valiant second to Shogun Lodge in the George Main Stakes convinced Connections to give the mare her chance in the Epsom Handicap, one of the 2 big handicaps run over the Randwick Metric Mile course each year. Sunline was weighted with 56.5 kilos, 2.5 kilos overweight for age for a 4-year-old mare.
600 out in the Cannon Epsom, and the heavily backed Sunline making play. A length on Al Mansour as they thunder round the home corner. Typhoon in third position, followed by Beauchamp, Zastov, Adam, and then Stanzak as they straighten up now, and Sunline taken on by Al Mansour. Zastov the outside, Beauchamp the inside, and then comes Typhoon, and Referral is seeing daylight, and Referral is starting to flash after Zastov, who hits the front, and L.A. Suez is going with Referral and L.A. Suez. L.A. Suez in the centre, and L.A. Suez wins the Epsom.
Back in the late 1980s, the combination of jockey John Marshall and trainer Bart Cummings was virtually unstoppable. Now, just over a decade later, they enjoyed a profitable reunion with the 4-year-old L.A. Suez, a gelding bred by Peter and Philip Vella at the Pencarrow stud at Cambridge in New Zealand. L.A. Suez is the second successive Epsom winner by the 1990 Golden Slipper hero Canny Ladd, whose son Dodge had prevailed in a blanket finish to the 1998 Epsom.
The AJC Metropolitan is run 2 days after the Epsom, over 2,600 metres, and after a 4-year lifespan as a set weights with penalties race, it reverted to handicap conditions. The Australian Jockey Club's wish for a stronger race came true because the 2000 Metropolitan offered a capacity field and wide betting, with the lightly raced stayer Mr. Prudent going out favourite at 7 to 2.
Miss Danehill quickly goes into second posse, followed by Able Master, then Tell the Court Edward Bray. Let's look for Mr. Prudent. He's starting to make up some ground, but still a mile back from Vitaman. Vitaman past the 200, 2 lengths Miss Danehill, followed by Ask the Waiter, and then Able Master, but Vitaman in front. They can't get him at the moment. Vitaman holding Able Master, and Vitaman has beaten Able Master. Ask the Waiter and Miss Danehill in a photo for third.
Back in the second half of the 70s, New Zealand boasted a world-class horse called Belmerino, and his regular jockey was Maurice Campbell. Today, Campbell is a trainer, and this horse, Vitaman, provided him with his most important training success so far. Vitaman is by Omnicore, the 1987 Victoria Derby winner, and a son of the great staying influence Grosvenor. Brian York, no stranger to the Group 1 winners' circle, was the successful rider.
The following week, the racing spotlight shifts to Caulfield in Melbourne, where 3 Group 1s are decided on Guineas Day. The Yalumba Stakes is a 2,000 metre weight for age race that plays a significant role as a lead-up to both the Caulfield Cup and the BMW Cox Plate. This year, punters chose the outstanding Sydney stayer Tie the Knot as their top elect and sent him to the post a 9 to 10 favourite.
And it's Northern Drake the leader. Northern Drake, he's quickened up and he got away a length and a quarter on the message. Into Gazer's third, and now Tie the Knot starting to respond round the outside. And the two heavyweights are starting to make their runs together at the 400. Northern Drake in front. Into Gaze and Tie the Knot both running a little wide round the home turn. Aerosmith in the clear. In the straight, Northern Drake the leader. At the 250, he's 2 lengths now to Tie the Knot, and Aerosmith running a better race. They haven't got to Northern Drake yet. Is there a boil over in the offing? I think so. He's 3-4 lengths in front. Tie the Knot fighting out second and third with Aerosmith, but Northern Drake has carried it home in a sprint and a run affair.
12 months earlier, it had been a might and power exhibition. But even the champ himself might have been troubled by Northern Drake's finishing speed as he reeled off a 45-second final 800 metres. Until this win, Northern Drake had been best known for a defeat, the horse who ran second to Might and Power in the 1998 Cox Plate. But this stunning victory over Tie the Knot set him up for acknowledgement in his own right. Northern Drake has now been retired to stud, but was prepared by former Macau harness reinsman Kenny Mann and ridden here by Grant Cooksley.
Ever since the Vic Health Cup, the newspapers and radio programs have been full of speculation on a return bout between Testarossa and Reduced Choice. Although Testarossa mastered the Danehill Colt in the Vic Health Cup, many argue the result was far from conclusive, with Reduced Choice being forced extremely wide from an outside barrier. And now the race that was to settle all arguments, the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas over 1,600 metres.
There's the run for Testarossa if he's got enough. A line coming at them on the outside with pins. They reach the 200 and Testarossa, sprinting very fast, has moved up and has gone to the lead over Reduced Choice. Cassidy had to pull the whip and then pins. It's Testarossa clear though. Reduced Choice is coming again. Testarossa has to find. Reduced digs. He lunges and wins. Reduced Choice beat Testarossa.
From now on, whenever the great two-horse wars of racing are discussed, the Reduced Choice Testarossa duel and the 99 Caulfield Guineas will be among them. There are 5 metric mile races run under handicap conditions in Australia, and traditionally they're always tough races for punters to sort out. The Toorak handicap on Guineas Day was very typical in this respect, offering a wide open race with a consistent Adelaide mare Nina Haraka from the Peter Hayes stable favourite at 5-2.
And there's a riderless horse around the outside causing trouble to the leader. Go Flash Go on the rails just in front of Londolozy. 2 to Surface Sir Boom. On the inside there is Rosa War when they came to the turn, and they're followed by Rum. Getting to the outside, Noir Seer, followed by Nina Haraka as they corner. Go Flash Go as the leader around the home turn. Kicked a couple of lengths in front here from Rum giving chase with Londolozy. Then Rosa War, Nina Haraka and Noir Seer from Sir Boom. Inside the 200 and Rum loomed up and has taken the lead. Rum with Nina Haraka. She's starting to sprint quickly. It's Rum from Nina Haraka. Go Flash Go on the inside, but Rum in front. Rum sees it through, wins it by a length. Nina Haraka. Go Flash Go.
13 months earlier, Rum had shown he was up to Group 1 standard by winning the Group 2 Craigley Stakes over 1,600 metres at Flemington, a race that should have been promoted to Group 1 long ago. Although a recognised Group 1 race was a long time coming for this son of Umatilla, it would have been a disappointment had it not come at all. Rum is a member of the 2-state team prepared by Leon McDonald and was ridden by that trans-Tasman tradesman Eddie Wilkinson.
The 1,000 Guineas is the early spring sounding board for the value of the Sydney fillies' classic form. Dan Glisser had been the dominant Sydney filly all spring and was sent out favourite at 13-4, but there was a hitch. Dan Glisser's flight to Melbourne was cancelled and she had to make the long journey by road, virtually on the eve of the race.
Danglisser left the fence. Shizou got up to have a go at her now. My Sienna only a length and a half away on the outside. Beat the Fades, got right through along the inside as they corner, and they're followed by Gilded Angel in the straight. Danglisser is under siege by Shizou. Beat the Fade on the inside, and My Sienna down the outside, and then I Am a Ripper and Gilded Angel. Shizou and Beat the Fade with Danglisser coming again on the outside. Shizou again tackled by Danglisser. Shizou's ahead in front. Danglisser can't get there or not. No, Shizou. Shizou just beat Danglisser with Beat the Fade third on the inside.
Shizou is only a pony, and her lead-up form had been fair without attracting any rave reviews. She's by Mantari, the New Zealand-based son of English 2,000 Guineas winner Doyoon, best known as the sire of the 1999 world champion Day Lamy. Shizou was ridden by Jim Cassidy, who picked up the mount when regular rider Darren Garchi was pre-committed to the John Hawke stable, and the winning trainer was New Zealand's Mike Moroney.
With the preliminaries over, the stage was set for the 1999 Group 1 Foster's Caulfield Cup. With Ty the Knot missing the race in favour of the Cox Plate the following week, AJC Australian Derby hero Sky Heights became the #1 saddlecloth carrier and was sent out a solid favourite at 5-2. The task of guiding the public elect was entrusted to Damien Oliver, who'd already won 3 Caulfield Cups in the 90s.
In a flurry's been off the track. Further back in the race, Labille, Rose of War, Joss Sticks. Arena taking off from the back of the field, followed by Sea Squill. Then Referral, third last figurehead. Back towards the tail of Maritpoor and the hinders last of all. Coming to the 650-metre mark in the Caulfield Cup. Rogan Josh and Miss Danehill have got to Vitamad. On the outside, Sky Heights is looming up, followed by Arena from the back of the field around LA Suez. Then Labille off the rail. Further back, then Lahar. Sea Squill pulled out deep. Rogan Josh a length and a half in front. On the turn from in second place in Sky Heights. A gap Labille and Arena out in the middle within a flurry. It's Sky Heights after the leader Rogan Josh at the 300. It's Rogan Josh a neck in front of Sky Heights, and Labille with a late run, and down the outside in a flurry is coming with a run. Rogan Josh, Sky Heights, Labille and in a flurry. A great go, Labille and Sky Heights. Sky Heights and Labille. Sky Heights, Labille. Labille and Sky Heights. Sky Heights kicks it. I think he may have won it. Yes, Sky Heights and knows Labille. 2 lengths away, third in a flurry.
Although this race was a personal triumph for Cranbourne trainer Colin Alderson and his family, history will most likely remember this race for the rare trifecta achieved by Cambridge Stud's magnificent Zabeel. That's right, Sky Heights, Labille and In a Flurry are all by Zabeel, an amazing feat in a $1.5 million race. Incidentally, Zabeel's prodigious sire, Sir Tristram, managed 2 Group 1 trifectas during his great career, including the 1986 New Zealand Oaks at Trentham with Royal Heights, Empire Rose and Eau d'Etoile.
The BMW Cox Plate is Australia's premier weight for age race, but unlike the previous year when it looked a might and power benefit, this year's event was a race of intrigue. There was the Caulfield Stakes rematch of Intergaze and Tied the Knot, the surprising 7-day backup of Caulfield Cup hero Sky Heights, and the presence of New Zealand's champion mare Sunline, who'd met defeated at past 3 runs in Sydney. The race was further spiced by the appearance of the Caulfield Guineas 1 and 2, Reduced Choice and Testarossa, with Reduced Choice starting a surprising favourite at 7-2.
Stalls are back there racing. And they've jumped in a perfect line too, with Make No Mistake going back at the start, Reduced Choice and Sunline away quickly. Commands is moving forward in the early point from Intergaze and Sky Heights. Make No Mistake picks up ground from Tie the Knot, the message. In a flurry, Testarossa and Lahar last of all. They're strung right out. They've gone to the 1,000-metre mark, the halfway mark, and the Cox Plate of 99. And the leader, Sunline, increased her lead. She's out 2 lengths in front of Reduced Choice. Intergaze is Posse third on the inside from Commands fourth. A half further back, Make No Mistake. 2 lengths to Sky Heights, the message the inside. 2.5 then to Tie the Knot, about 10 lengths off the front from In a Flurry. Testarossa and last of all, Lahar. At the 700-metre mark, and Commands has run off the track. Commands has gone right to the outside. Sunline led by a length. Reduced Choice is under pressure second, and Sunline has increased the margin in front. She's gone 2.5 in front now from Reduced Choice. The New Zealand mare has raced away. She's 4 in front now from Reduced Choice, who can't bridge the gap. Sky Heights running on, followed by Intergaze, Tie the Knot, Testarossa and Make No Mistake. But the bonny New Zealand mare is full of running around the turn. It's Sunline, 5 in front of Sky Heights. Tie the Knot with a withering run down the outside. Sunline 3 in front. Tie the Knot wearing her down. Sunline in front. Tie the Knot ducks in, and New Zealand takes the Cox Plate with Sunline. A length and 3/4. Tie the Knot. A length away third. Sky Heights, then Testarossa fourth.
Each year, a new legend is created on this day at Moonee Valley. And in 1999, the legend was Sunline. For the second straight year, the Cox Plate winner had led throughout, and rating experts assessed her performance as almost on par with Might and Powers 12 months earlier. Sunline was handled to perfection by Greg Childs, who maintained an unbeaten record on the mare and earned the right to pilot her in the Group 1 Hong Kong International Cup at Sha Tin in December. Sunline was bred in New Zealand by Michael Martin and his wife Susan Archer, and was bought for $40,000 by trainer Trevor McKee in partnership with Thane Green and Helen Lusty.
The Amy Victoria Derby is the highlight of the opening day of the Victoria Racing Club's 4-day Spring Carnival. This year's Derby favourite at 5-2 was Shogun Lodge, the Grand Lodge gelding we saw earlier exacting a defeat over Sunline in the George Main Stakes at Randwick. From the Peter Hayes stable in South Australia's Barossa Valley came Robert Sangster's Blackfriars, a stoutly made staying tight by the preeminent sire Danehill, while the previous week's Amy Vars hero Diatribe was third favourite at 11-2.
As they came down the side now, and Unlimiting's been joined by Freemason and Royal Integrity, who's been doing nothing but working three wide. 2 lengths to Chief Scout third, and then came Diatribe on the inside of Blackfriars. Campamani starting a run from Shogun Lodge, and then came, as they neared the turn, Liberty Hall. Back behind those horses then as they corner is pulled to the outside Troubadour. Campamani's is hanging off the track into the straight, Unlimiting and Freemason corner in front. Diatribe's got the run through for Greg Hall, and he's ready to pounce. Shogun Lodge is following him home. Blackfriars has got to the extreme outside. It's Diatribe at the 300 darting to the lead, but Blackfriars is coming after him. Freemason battling along strongly, and now Shogun Lodge is getting off their heels and coming home. Diatribe headed by Blackfriars. Shogun Lodge on the outside. Blackfriars 100 out the leader. Shogun Lodge is coming after him. Blackfriars in front. He'll see it through. Blackfriars beat Shogun Lodge by half a length. Diatribe is third.
Shane Dye, the rider of Shogun Lodge, protested against Blackfriars being declared the winner, but stewards ultimately voted for the status quo. Blackfriars gave Robert Sangster his second Victoria Derby after Blevick in 1994, while it was Danehill's third win in the race, following Nothing Like a Dane and Arena. And the jockey, Cox Plate hero Greg Giles, continued his magnificent spring form.
The Salinger Stakes, run over the straight 1200 metres course at Flemington, is the spring showpiece for the country's best open-age speedsters. In a wide betting race, punters threw in for a huge win on star Sydney sprinter Kidman's Cove, supporting the Masqué gelding into favouritism at 4-1. Impressive local filly Far Rain was well in commission at 6-1, yet she was the one runner the history book said could not win.
Followed by Toledo, Widerad in company with the point, and back behind those is Star System on the grandstand. Far Rain has dashed to the lead now with Natois coming after it, and then Kidman's Cove on the other side, and Magic Music swallowed up by Toledo and the point, but Far Rain in front. Far Rain on this side is the leader, I'd say, from Toledo on the other side, and then Canning Anna, but the filly, Far Rain wins it magnificently. What a great win.
Far Rain came out again the following Thursday and won the Group 2 Emirates Classic just as easily, cementing her place as the sprinting find of the spring. Far Rain's effort was quite phenomenal when you consider that no 3-year-old had won the Salinger since Vane in 1969, and that even the great Manicato had been beaten as a 3-year-old in 1978, when at the peak of his powers. Far Rain's Salinger was also the carnival highlight for trainer David Hall and jockey Brett Pripple.
The Louis Vuitton McKinnon Stakes at Flemington on Derby Day is a 2,000 metre weight for age race with a mountain of history behind it. For many years, the McKinnon was one of the key races to which punters looked for the Melbourne Cup clues, with the most recent horses to complete the double being Attalic in 1986, Empire Rose in 1988, and the champion Let's Elope in 1991. And just last season, the winner had been Champagne, who progressed to a close and unlucky second behind Jezebel in the Big Cup 3 days later.
Below the 400 metre mark now, Intergaze after Oliver Twist. On their outside now, Rogan Josh. Tie the Knot is battling along only at the 250. Oliver Twist and Intergaze together. Rebel is coming with Rogan Josh running a big race. Rebel and Rogan Josh trying to get to Oliver Twist. It's Rogan Josh in the middle, taking the lead. Rebel is going with him. Rogan Josh is pulling out something, and Rogan Josh drew away and beat Rebel by 3/4. What a great cup trial.
And now for the event known around the world as Australia's signature race, the $2.8 million Foster's Melbourne Cup. In recent years, the Victoria Racing Club has been promoting it as the 2-mile championship of the world, a tag Dermot Well happily spun for the club after Vintage Crop won in 1993. This year's Cup was robbed of significant interest with the race eve scratching of favourite Cave Tara with a slight tendon strain. In his place, the Dubai-based Godolphin operation saddled up Derby Italiano winner Central Park, a 40-1 shot with Frankie Dettori on board. Bart Cummings had no hesitation in backing up his shocked McKinnon Stakes winner Rogan Josh, and the 7-year-old started a heavily back 5-1 second elect. Despite having to shoulder the steadier of 58 kilos, dual Sydney Cup winner Tie the Knot started favourite at 5-2. With the preliminaries all done, they're now being boxed for the race that stops an entire nation, the Group 1 Foster's Melbourne Cup.
Racing. Oh, they've gone away in a magnificent line too, and Sky Heights left the gate well, so did the hind. Able Master was prominent in the early point with Travel Mate. Further out, Zabuan and second coming in the nose roll with Lahar. Rolling up towards the front, Labille has pulled in behind them. Now from the outside, let's have a look. The Warrior out there, showing some pace, and wider out on the track now going forward. Rogan Josh in Central Park and Zazabel. A little bit of tightening under the course prop here. The Warrior is now first to the rail. Sky Heights has gone back to midfield and the Warrior in front, but he's quickly headed off by Central Park and Rogan Josh. Rogan Josh is up very close second today. When they settle down towards the winning post, the first round, Central Park led. Rogan Josh, the Warrior, the Message, Zabuan. Then Zazabel, and further back in the race, tie the knot 3 wide. The hind over on the inside, a second coming. Travel Mates on the inside of Lahar. Yavanas paces 3 deep, 2 lengths further back. Just off midfield, Sky Heights from Able Master. Arena is out wide, followed further back by Rebor. A length further back on the outside of him. Then going forward is Married Paw on the outside. Then a little wider streak. Back in the middle is Brew. 10 lengths off them. Just behind him, Labor, followed further back by Yavanas Pace. 2 lengths further back is Married Paw in the cup, followed by Arena. There goes Brew going around the outside with Figurehead. Lady Elsie is well back. And there's a riderless horse in the cup. One has lost its rider coming off the back straight now. Up towards the turn, 700 metres out in the cup. And the leader over on the inside, Central Park, being tackled by out wider Rogan Josh and Zazabel. Under pressure, the Message, Travel Mate behind those. Sky Heights is under the whip, back about 9th, followed out wider by Tie the Knot. It's Central Park, the Warrior getting up on the inside from Travel Mate. The hind getting a run, and Rogan Josh is there with Zazabel. No Sky Heights today. Central Park, Rogan Josh. Travel Mate, Zazabel coming at them. It's Central Park, the leader, Rogan Josh coming out after him. It's Central Park and Rogan Josh. Central Park, Rogan Josh. Bart's got his 11th. Rogan Josh wins the cup from Central Park. Photo for third, Zazabel or Lahar behind them.
A week before the Melbourne Cup, Rogan Josh seemed to be just one of the good chances. But all that changed when he arrived in the McKinnon Stakes at odds of 16 to 1 and then took an 8-kilo weight drop in the Cup. This was the third Group 1 of the spring for the Bart Cummings-John Marshall combination and gave Marshall his first Melbourne Cup. By contrast, it was 71-year-old Cummings' 11th success in the great race. A phenomenal effort when you consider that no one else over the past 122 years has trained more than 4. Rogan Josh was given to the Melbourne Cup Maestro after finishing second in the Perth Cup the previous January.
2 days after the Cup, it's Ladies' Day at Flemington, with the $500,000 Victoria Oaks sponsored by Melbourne's Crown Casino. This year's Oaks field did not have the depth or glamour of previous years, and it was left to the Tasmanian filly My Sienna, a brave winner of the Wakeful Stakes the previous Saturday, to head betting list at the surprisingly tight quote of 2 to 1.
Beat the Fade, pushes into the clear at the top of the straight where Dan Glisser is the leader. Dan Glisser, who tries to do it all, leads into the straight. Shazoo has come out after her, off her heels and is coming home. My Sienna's coming down the outside with the Golden Dane, and now Tributes is joining in. My Sienna at the 300 has raced up and gone to the lead with Shazoo. Tributes on their outside is starting to close. It's Shazoo and My Sienna locked together with Tributes on the outside. My Sienna and Shazoo and Tributes closing now. Tributes is racing up Greenly to grab the lead, and Tributes is going to win it by a half a length, and Darren Gauci loved it.
Tributes came into the Fillies Classic via the Geelong Oaks Trial, a race that has been of limited popularity with owners and trainers in recent years, with a plethora of fillies races available in Melbourne in the spring. This daughter of 1990 Epsom Derby hero Quest for Fame is owned and bred by Jack and Bob Ingham's Woodland Stud and was trained for them by John Hawkes. It was the first of 3 Group 1s for the season for the group's #1 Melbourne rider, Darren Gauci.
The major metric mile race at the Melbourne Cup Carnival is the Emirates Stakes, decided on final day. The first 2 home in the Turek handicap, Amram and Nina Haraka, lined up again, but punters preferred the fresh horse on the scene. Impressive first up Caulfield winner, Bonanova.
Lazakaleta and Amram are right behind them. Blackbean stayed near the inside. Then Des's Dream called on for the run, followed by Caniana and Nawasir. And then Nina Haraka with Bonanova getting to the outside and starting to run on at the 300 now. Northern Drake hit the lead from Bavetto. Blackbean through on the inside. Des's Dream and Bonanova's coming hard down the outside. Amram tackled by Bonanova, and then Caniana and Des's Dream. Amram still in front, 100 to go from Bonanova. It's Amram and Bonanova. Bonanova getting to Amram. Umram. They're going to the line, locked together. Bottom over a nose, I'd say, from Umram. Nina Haraka is third.
This win saw Bonanova become the most valuable potential broodmare in the country, remembering that owner Jim Fleming had paid more than $1 million for her before she'd won a Group 1 race. Bonanova is by the New Zealand-based stallion Starway from the Bletchingley mare St Clair. And this mating had already left the Group 1 winning brothers Telesto and Fraternity.
The Thoroughbred Racehorse Owners Association, the only group set up to represent the most important people in racing, owners. Join now and receive a range of benefits and privileges, including discounts on horse transportation, free racecourse entry, free advice, invitations to Troa social functions, and a regular newsletter and members guide. Join the Thoroughbred Racehorse Owners Association now and support the voice of owners, Troa. Inside Racing is the official publication of the Victorian thoroughbred racing industry. After undergoing a major upgrade, Inside Racing is a monthly must for owners, trainers, jockeys, breeders, and racing enthusiasts. Inside Racing contains programming details, contacts for trainers, jockeys, and officials, news and views, feature stories, breeding information, with a sire's supplement in July. Inside Racing is the complete racing magazine. Arrange your 12-month subscription for just $107.80 including GST. Phone Publications Manager Joe McGrath or Sales Executive Stephen Bell. Inside Racing, it's a must.
The West Australian Turf Club gave its summer carnival a facelift this season, with one of the most significant moves being a shift of the Fruit and Veg Stakes from a late November date back to December 18, giving it fresh relevance as a lead up to the Group 1 Railway Stakes 9 days later. The Fruit and Veg is a race that has gone under many names over the last 2 decades, but its list of winners is a substantial one. Great gallopers like Family of Man, Sovereign Red, Vo Rogue, Better Loosen Up, and even the Great Kingston Town. This year, the Eastern States gallopers appeared to have a mortgage on the event, with the Mick Price-trained Slavonic starting favourite at 2-1, and the classy mare St Clemens Bell a close second-elect at 5-2.
Wonder Willoughby and a half, St Clemens Bell. 3/4 Slavonic, fifth on the outside from Pompey Chief. Corporate James the inside from Cash in the Bag. Wonder Zedamos being followed then by Society Miss. Iron Horse hemmed in on the rails from Double Blue. And Papillon last onto the bend, 550 to go. Jacksel better by 2, El Caballero. 3/4 to Willoughby, St Clemens Bell the inside. Slavonic cruises up on the outside as they come to the bend. He's followed by Cash in the Bank, Pompey Chief. Then Corporate James, Iron Horse from Zedamos and well back in the field, Double Blue in the straight, 300 left now. Jacksel better headed by on the outside. Willoughby, St Clemens Bell got an inside run. Slavonic is down the outside. St Clemens Bell from Willoughby, Slavonic and Pompey Chief. St Clemens Bell, Willoughby and Slavonic getting through Pompey Chief. St Clemens Bell but in front, and St Clemens Bell has scored in a great finish.
St Clemens Bell is a homebred filly for Adelaide businessman Harry Perks, who came to national prominence 2 seasons earlier as the owner-breeder of champion 3-year-old Gold Guru. St Clemens Bell was placed very astutely here by trainer Russell Cameron, and the entire game plan was executed brilliantly by the pumper Jim Cassidy. The West Australian Derby is held on Boxing Day at Ascot and is another race with a rich history of superior winners. This year, punters took a shine to Victorian 3-year-old Full of Rhythm, a gelding with consistent winning form in restricted company that included a defeat of the older horses at Moonee Valley with 57 kilograms. Assessments of Full of Rhythm were the subject of considerable conflict. Punters decided he was a worthy 2-1 favourite, while one of Australia's most famous bookmakers freely labelled him as the Lay of the Year.
At the 300, Valdior has dashed the lead around the corner from Silver Sim. 3 lengths away to Pog behind Later's Ploy. Then Repriman from the hip. Full of Rhythm has got 120 to go, but and Valdior well clear. 5 or 6 lengths over Later's Ploy. Running on from the hip down the outside, but Valdior's got it all parcelled up, and Valdior wins by about 8 lengths.
About the only thing that could be said for Valdor's credentials going into the Derby was that she'd come through the West Australian Oaks, and that race has become an excellent reference in recent years. Valdor is by the Melbourne-based Biscay speedster Diodor, a horse who couldn't get beyond 1,200 metres. The trainer of the 7-length Derby winner was Joe Miller, and the successful jockey was Jeff Noski. In the Group 1 Railway Stakes at Ascot, Melbourne sprinter miler Slavonic beat the handicapper. Slavonic had run a tremendous third to St Clemens Bell in the Wait for Age Fruit and Veg Stakes, but tumbled 7 kilos under the handicap conditions of the railway over the same course and distance 9 days later.
And Jack's better by a length and a half. Over on the outside, St Clemens Bell. Third, there's Willoughby the inside from Pompey Chief. 1 Academus. Sister Patricia sweating on a run. Slavonic goes up 3 wide to the turn. He's followed then on the outside, Machine Gun Tom. Unwinding around Yuma. Out wide goes Iron Horse as they corner. Being followed by Springtime Gold, Corporate James. And then Corporate Bruce into the straight. And St Clemens Bell on the inside took the lead. Tackled by Slavonic on the outer. And 200 to go. Slavonic dashes to the lead from Pompey Chief. St Clemens Bell followed by Willoughby and Sister Patricia, but it's all over. Slavonic by 4. Sister Patricia gets out and goes to second. Flashing home Corporate Bruce, but Slavonic eased down.
Slavonic is the second Group 1 winner for young Caulfield trainer Mick Price, whose star is still very much on the ascent. Price personally selected Slavonic for $18,000 from the William Inglis Classic catalogue and has patiently groomed him into a Group 1 performer. The leading jockey of the Melbourne Carnival, Brett Preble, made no mistakes with the good thing, and the punters who took the short odds never had a moment's worry. This year, the New Zealand Group 1 season got underway in early October. The Celt Capital Stakes, over 2,040 metres at Hastings, was promoted to Group 1 status in 1996, and again carried prize money of $250,000. For such an early stage of the season, punters typically expect testing conditions to prevail for these middle distance gallopers. On this occasion, however, the Celt Capital was run on good ground, with the Graham Rogerson trained 4-year-old Sea Squill starting favourite on the New Zealand TAB.
Down the side, 700 metres to go. Last year's winner, Just Call Me Sir, is a half length on the Southern McClaskry. The up-and-comer sent home the rut. Amy J right there. Trounston Emerald work forward. Batavian's getting up on the inside, and then Cronus Rebel runs on. Oregon Power's on the move to Sea Squill, and then Sapio and the last Tangarakau. Only 7 off them as they turn. Just Call Me Sir goes for home. Sent home's able to get through on the inside. Emerald on the outside is coming home very quickly. She's levelled up, but Sent Home's got right through on the inside, and Batavian is tracking him. He's dashed away from them. Have a look at this, your first ever Group 1 race. Sent Home 5 lengths in front. Rebel runs on, and then Batavian, but he is a star, and Sent Home got him in the Celt by 6 lengths.
Sent Home may have caught some punters unaware at Hastings, but they were much better prepared when the 4-year-old turned up at Trentham 3 weeks later for the running of the $100,000 Captain Cook Stakes, again decided under Wait for Age conditions. On this occasion, Sent Home was the equivalent of a 5-4 favourite, with the only downside to his chances being the drop in distance, back to 1,600 metres.
He's angled into the clear with Seeking as they race down to the 300 metres, and it's still Hero. O'Malley's boy Rua, Kiwi lad into Great is coming after them strongly, and Sent Home in the centre starting to roll home, but still Hero. Hero with 150 to go into Great, and out wide Sent Home starting to warm up the last little bit. Hero, Sent Home's after him. Oh, what a great horse. Sent Home's got up to win it.
Sent Home gave trainer Jim Wallace a dream start to the new season. And how appropriate that the winner should be by Lord Ballina, who for years has been the stalwart of the Wallace family's Ardsley stud. Sent Home was ridden by David Walker at Hastings, though Lance O'Sullivan took over for Trentham. The New Zealand Classic Countdown began in Christchurch at the spacious Riccarton Circuit on the Saturday after the Melbourne Cup. Favourite for the Gold Club New Zealand 1,000 guineas was Adalta, a strapping daughter of the former smart Sydney racer Ken Fair.
And in between horses and about to spring out at any time as they come their way round the turn is Adalta. They were followed further out on the track now by getting closer. Saar Watch, the very outside last Chatelaine and Jones Best, then Nuance. Further back then to Penny Arcade and dropping away as by Chiquita in the straight, 300 metres to go. Lance O'Sullivan takes Ambitious to the lead, but here's Adalta coming at it down the outside, and in behind them still there in the inner is Party Queen. Adalta goes to the front, Ambitious giving plenty for O'Sullivan. At the moment it's Adalta, and down on the inside Ambitious. Adalta only head apart, not even that a half a head. Adalta wins the Sleepyhead New Zealand Guineas.
Adalta confirmed the value of the Riccarton form the following autumn, when she descended on the top Sydney fillies to win the Group 2 Surround Stakes at Warwick Farm. Ken Fair, the sire of Adalta, is a well-bred son of former champion sire Ken Ma, from a sister to the leading Australian sire Maskay. Adalta is prepared at Matamata in the North Island by Tony Gillies and was handled here by Leith Innes. Adalta tried to attempt what even Tycoon Lil had been unable to achieve 2 seasons earlier, to roll the boys in the 2,000 guineas just 4 days after the fillies version. Although Adalta's margin in the 1,000 guineas had been small, punters figured she'd been sufficiently impressive to warrant sending her out favourite against the best male of his generation, the Gold Bros colt Buzz Lightyear.
So round the bend they come, and with 500 metres left to run, the leader on the outside, the Old Dragon, and Tony Allen takes it up on the outside of Buzz Lightyear. They're 5 lengths in front of Adalta. She's got to produce something, but she's starting to storm home. She's still a good 4 or 5 lengths away from the 2 in front, and a bit further back in the race running on's Lord Presto, and still there is Maroc and the sledge. It's Buzz Lightyear, 100 metres to go and going well. Buzz Lightyear 3 lengths clear and is going to win the Copeland's Bakeries New Zealand 2,000 guineas all the way from the Old Dragon and Adalta.
With strong margins of 1.5 lengths by 1 3/4 lengths and fast time of 1:35.09 in the 2,000 guineas, little wonder that Buzz Lightyear was back down to a solid favourite to complete a Group 1 double in the Bayer Classic over 1,600 metres at Levin just 16 days later.
And Buzz Lightyear, it's Buzz Lightyear a length in front straight from above. Idle around the outside, Ambitious hunted up on the inside, and then our 5-star Penny Arcade's coming forward as 2 Cleason, Lord of Illusion as they turn. Buzz Lightyear goes for gold in the Bayer. He's 2 lengths on Ambitious straight from above. Idle Penny Arcade on the outside is running on as 2 then is our 5-star and Lord of Illusion, but Buzz kicked on them. Buzz Lightyear, he's 4 lengths in front, running on the outside, Penny Arcade. Great things happened the last little bit, and look at DeMiro fly, but Buzz Lightyear in the Jarvis colours 2 years running.
Buzz Lightyear is the best advertisement to date for the former brilliant Sydney sprinter Gold Bros, now at stud at Westbury Farm, Cambridge. Unfortunately, the colt died in the autumn after just 1 run in Australia, so we'll never know for certain the absolute depth of his considerable ability. Buzz Lightyear was prepared by Robert Prescott and was handled in both Group 1 races by Opie Bossom. Auckland's number 2 racecourse Avondale is host to just 1 Group 1 event, the Avondale Cup, a 2,200 metre handicap which this year was decided on December 2. It's invariably one of the toughest races on the Kiwi racing calendar.
Round they come in the running of the 1999 State Insurance Avondale Gold Cup Group 1, and Gold Cloud still the pacemaker to Native Chief ready to pounce. Dandy Dancers angling to the clear, 3 out and going well. Trounced is back on the rail, they swing for home in the cup. There followed wins a few. Glendara, Cheerful down the outside is Magic Winner, and Cruzero's coming into it as well. Gold Cloud claimed by Dandy Dancer. Trounce got through on the inside, wins a few. Native Chief, Cheerful are all over the globe. Out wide a Magic Winner followed by Cruzeiro. Late one T-Boy Spirit, trounced in front of the cup from Wins a Few, and there followed in My Time and Magic Winner over on the outside. Trounce wins the few, Trounce wins a few, Trounce wins a few.
The blanket finish raised a justifiable question as to the true quality of this form, but good luck to the connections of the 6-year-old Trounced. The winner is by the former classy stayer Just a Dancer, a son of the highly performed Starway, and he's the 3rd foal of the Imperial Seal mare Merrill. Trounced is trained by the partnership of Gary Barlow and Jeff Linds, and was competently handled by proven big race rider Brian Hibbard. There was only one nagging question in the lead up to the $350,000 Sleepyhead New Zealand Derby. Would Buzz Lightyear be able to stay the 2,400 metres around the testing Ellerslie circuit? Although Buzz Lightyear was by a pure sprinter in Gold Bros, Enough fans had faith in his relaxed running style to ensure he went out favourite for New Zealand's Premier Classic.
So racing in 700 metres out in the Derby, Buzz Lightyear now scoots round and puts the pressure on and races away. He's going early on him. Buzz Lightyear now 2.5 to Weidel in second place. The fillies out after these two at Alta off the rail now from Hades coming into it, then followed by Giving Ground, Sun God, and then Hill of Grace. Around the turn comes Buzz Lightyear, the favourite, full of running, 3 clear from Idle. At Alta's about 4 off the pace, and here's Hades down the outside. Buzz Lightyear still in front, 250 to go. They're getting him now. Hades the danger on the outside, and Idle there as well as they race down, and here's Hill of Grace coming into it. Hades shot to the front, 150 out. Hill of Grace going hard after it. Idle on the inside. Hades kept going though from Hill of Grace. Hades is going to race in the little fella to win the Derby. Second at the line was Hill of Grace.
When there's a Group 1 race over 2,400 metres or further in Australia or New Zealand, there's a good chance that a Zabeel horse will win it. And so it proved again here, with the lightly raced Hades giving astute trainer Roger James his 3rd win in the Classic. Hades was sold as a yearling by Jim and Jennifer Campen's Checkers Stud and was bought by Roger James for just $32,500. The Millennium Auckland Cup had something of a setback, with the race having to be postponed after Auckland was deluged with freak storms. When it finally got underway, there were 18 patiently handled New Zealand stayers vying for victory in the country's richest race, the $355,000 Group 1 Blue Star Auckland Cup.
600 metres to go in the Cup, and Classic Tudor now joined by on the outside Trounced. Right there, Magic Winner on the inside. Right there also Paddy Maloney, second coming between horses. Anna Zeal comes out wide on the turn with Tokyo Bow, and they head into the straight. 400 metres to go in the Cup. Trounced now on the outside goes to Classic Tudor. Here's second coming. Oh, there's a bit of a tightening there on second coming with Paddy Maloney. In My Time, and Able Masters shot right through on the inside to lead them all at the 250. Able Master and Cooksley in front. Second coming, those recovered and goes after it strongly. Able Master second coming, and In My Time third. Able Master the inside put his nose in front and beat second coming in the Cup.
Able Master had finished second to Vitaman in the AJC Metropolitan at Randwick and looked to be a long shot Melbourne Cup chance, but lost his rider Grant Cooksley near the 800 metre point in that event when a stirrup iron broke. Able Master is prepared at Takanini by the experienced Bruce Wallace, and Grant Cooksley receives some appropriate compensation for that embarrassing spill at Flemington to land his second Group 1 winner of the season. With prize money of $250,000, the Railway Handicap is New Zealand's biggest sprint race and has attracted the interest of Australian-based owners and trainers for the past 4 years. This year, Trans-Tasman trainer Graham Rogerson sent his expensive Danehill colt Cullen from Melbourne to Auckland in search of a Group 1 result. However, despite his presence, the locally trained mare Cansey was the public elect at $3.70 on the New Zealand tote.
800 metres to go, and the leader now, It Pins, took it a half length now from Maduri Dixit. Bear All on the outside. Cullen trails these. A length and a half Crooked Stick, Catamarca back today. Then O'Malley's Boy on the inside of Vain Anna rise above the next one. 2 back to Country Rose. Star of Gold the next one. Then Joe Hero and Cansey last, and 10 off the pace. Around the turn they come. Etpins is going to lead them in the railway. 2 clear from Maduri Dixon, and Cullen now making a bid, and out wider is Bear All. 350 to go. Etpins now. Cullen has loomed to the lead and takes over. O'Malley's Boys coming home strongly. Crooked Stick late with Bear All and Vain Anna, but it's Cullen in front for the Australian rider. He's clear. He's 2 lengths, but coming quickly. O'Malley's Boy. Look at Cansey right along the inside, but it's still Cullen in front. Cansey coming 2 to 1 along the inside, going to the post. Star of Gold as well. Cansey, I think's won it.
Cansey is just the latest in a string of Group 1 winners to the credit of Canny Ladd, the 1990 Golden Slipper winner and a son of 3 times champion sire Bletchingley. Cansey was bought by Whakanui studs Tim Bodle for $150,000 at the 1997 Australian Easter sale. Her dam was Beachside, a multiple group winner from one of New Zealand's toughest classic families. This highly valuable mare was the season's second Group 1 winner to emerge from the stables of Mike Moroney. One of the problems being faced by New Zealand racing is the lack of depth among the higher class older horses, because the good ones are so often sold off to Australia or Asia. The quality of the field in this year's JRA Auckland Classic was a stern reminder of the problem, with 7-year-old Aerosmith favoured to win the race ahead of 6-year-olds Rebel and Integrate.
But he's still got a decent break on the turn. Hero he is, and he's got 6 lengths now. Aerosmith, the chaser for Childs. 4 back to Malura as they sprint for home now. And Hero in front, he's getting the wobbles. 2 away. Aerosmith and then Malura still 3 back. Integrate is winding up. 200 metres to go. Hero claimed now by Aerosmith. Malura. Rebel could be the upsetter down the very outside. In fact, Rebel dashes up to Aerosmith and races away. Rebel in front, and the JRA is going to win at second. Aerosmith. Integrate was third.
As the horse who chased home Rogan Josh in the Rich McKinnon Stakes at Flemington on Derby Day, Rebel was well credentialed for the JRA Auckland Classic. This son of former speed sire Famous Star is also a Group 1 winner at 1400 metres, but has gained added stamina with maturity. The winning trainer was Ron Langsford, while the successful rider was Linda Ballantyne. Melbourne 3-year-old Cullen, carrying the blue and white livery of New Zealand's richest man Eric Watson, had been only a head from victory in the Railway Handicap at Ellerslie. On that basis, punters backed him down to favouritism for the second of New Zealand's Group 1 sprints, the $150,000 Railway Handicap over the dogleg 1200 metre course at Trentham on January 24.
From Mendacity, the lightweights in front. Cullen's right with them, as to Fritz and Buster Brookfield, and Crooked sticks out a little bit deeper. Country Rose looking to press on in the centre. Then we've got Star of Gold. Out wider, Joe Hero drawn right to the outside as After Aid and Agent Scully as they race to the 300 metres. Kohinoor, Cullen over on the inside of it. Fritz is looking to get out. Buster Brookfield is out and after them. Star of Gold getting through. Joe Hero's out wider, but Cullen has kicked, although coming after it now is the Southern Sprinter Fritz. Fritz goes to Cullen. Out wide, Sharon is absolutely flying with Star of Gold, but Fritz wins the Telegraph.
Fritz was a 17-to-1 chance on the New Zealand TAB, so the result was something of a surprise to local form students. The 5-year-old provided a first career Group 1 for South Island trainer Neil Kuhlbeck. But his lack of experience at racing's highest level was balanced by the presence of veteran Noel Harris in the saddle, as Harris has been riding in Group 1 since the early 70s. There isn't a better credential for an Oaks candidate than to have acquitted herself well against the males in the Derby. And that's exactly the sort of form line Hill of Grace brought to Trentham for the Group 1 New Zealand Oaks. Hill of Grace's second to Hades at Ellerslie made her the standout on form for the Premier Fillies Classic, with trainer Robert Prescott confident the filly was spot on for the big assignment.
Hill of Grace is drawn to the outside, and She's Country starting to work into the clear. Ziggy's about to run on, and then Jane. We've got now Tycoon's Gold, She's Country, and Hill of Grace is joining these on the outside. She's at the front. Hill of Grace in front now. On the inside, kicking again is She's Country, and then You Beauty Giovanna. She's Country on the inside. Hill of Grace. She's Country's just in front. She'll win the Oaks.
While the Hill of Grace camp may have been despondent after finding the runner-up stall yet again, Bruce Wallace must have been pinching himself at his good fortune. The Auckland Cup with Able Master, followed by the New Zealand Oaks with She's Country, and all in the space of 3 weeks. It was also the completion of a double for Whakanui studs Tim Bodle, the owner of Railway Handicap winner Can See. And what about the filly's sire, Ken Fair? The well-bred grey stallion came back from the brink of oblivion a few months earlier to sire separate winners of the 1,000 Guineas and New Zealand Oaks in the one season. If there was one horse who deserved a big win on home soil, it was Second Coming. The 1997 Victoria Derby winner had struggled to find form for the best part of 2 years before his commendable 7th in Rogan Josh's Melbourne Cup, and that fighting second to Able Master in the Auckland Cup. The $300,000 Lion Brown Wellington Cup gave the Bay a tailor-made opportunity for revenge and an overdue breakthrough.
As they turn here in the Lion Brown Wellington Cup, Mac the Knife tackled by Second Coming. Second Coming and Mac the Knife. Paddy Maloney 2 lengths away. Starlight, the gifted shifter. She's about to run on with Believer, but Second Coming sprinted. Second Coming 2 in front from Mac the Knife. The gifted shifter's running on the outside, but Second Coming, he's 2 lengths in front from Mac the Knife, the gifted shifter. But it's Second Coming's Cup. He's way too good. 4 lengths to the line.
Oak Ridge was never among the top echelon of New Zealand sires, but he's done better than most, with two of his progeny winning the Victoria Derby at Flemington, Fire Oak and Second Coming. Perhaps it was no less than we should have expected from the sire line of Epsom Derby hero Shirley Heights and his famous father, the immortal Mill Reef. Second Coming is trained at Matamata by the Mike Moroney-Andrew Scott partnership and was ridden here by Michael Coleman. The Thorndon Mile at Trentham is one of two Group 1 races run under handicap conditions at 1600 metres in New Zealand each season. In 1998, the race saw the emergence of a triple Group 1 winner named Fair Form, and last year it gave rise to an exciting young galloper called Surface. True to the adage that history is the window to the future, the form from the 2000 Thorndon Mile would be no less significant.
The grey high grade, Barnov Zoo having a shot at it over on the outside. Conade and Scoozy, the stablemates are chiming in, and O'Malley's boys getting through. Resonare and Tall Poppy to the outside. We've got Conade on the outside, Scoozy. Barnov Zoo's fighting, and here's Pace Invader. She's dashing through in the centre. The Bolters race to the lead and upset in the Thorndon, and Pace Invader too good.
Pace Invader had won the 1,000 guineas at Riccarton the previous season, and although this win was achieved as a rank outsider, it was good to see a classic winner coming back to top form. Pace Invader is the best of the progeny of the disappointing sire, Westminster, while her dam, Grey Invader, was a wonderful galloper who was third behind the champions Superimpose and Shaftesbury Avenue in the Doncaster Handicap at Randwick in 1990. The international meeting at Te Rapa on February 13 featured two Group 1 races, with the sprinters taking centre stage for the Waikato Draft Sprint. Hero, in his fourth season of Group 1 competition, was a short-priced favourite, ahead of the speedy Karpstad mare Tall Poppy from the Noel Eels stable.
Down the outside is Tall Poppy, followed down on the inside. Bearall's looking for racing room. Heroes in front now from Bearall and Tall Poppy. Buster Brookfield nowhere to go. Centre Crest and Crooked Stick, O'Malley's boy. Heroes in front. Tall Poppy's levelled and Bearall dies between them. Hero, Tall Poppy out wider. Tall Poppy just from Bearall and Hero.
It was back-to-back wins in the Waikato Draft for trainer Noel Eels, who'd won the race in 1999 with Surface. Tall Poppy is raced by the Fell family of the historic Fairdale stud and is the second foal of the former Iron Maiden Fun on the Run, one of the best race mares of her era. The Whakanui Stud International is another feature race at Te Rapa in February. It's a weight-for-age race over 2,000 metres and invariably attracts the best available middle-distance horses. Just as he had been in the JRA Auckland Classic, evergreen galloper Aerosmith, winner of the International in 1999, was again the top fancy with New Zealand TAB punters.
Down the straight, 400 metres to go, and Bluebird the Word has got up to Integrate, who's fighting back. And behind their Magic Winner, they're followed by Gypsy's Daughter. Surface winding up, Rebel Aerosmith's too far away at the moment. Bluebird the Word, Integrate, Gypsy's Daughter, Magic Winner, and Surface down the outside. Bluebird the Word, Integrate, and Gypsy's Daughter, Magic Winner. Bluebird the Word on the outside, Integrate, and bobbing finish, Integrate, or Bluebird the Word.
Bluebird the Word was originally trained by John Wheeler, who bought him as a yearling. But this return to top form was achieved under the guidance of father-son team Frank and Craig Ritchie at Takanini. The blanket finish suggested the form was not particularly strong. But that wasn't concerning jockey Michael Coleman, who celebrated his third Group 1 success for the season with this deceptive photo finish result. Less than 2 weeks after the International Stakes meeting at Te Rapa, the Otaki Maori Racing Club hosts the least valuable Group 1 race in Australasia. The El Cheapo Auto Auction Stakes had been won by Hero in 1999. And once again, Jim and Jennifer Campen's 6-year-old was sent out favourite.
Quality Kingdom will use the inside after 8 and Tall Poppy drawn out wider. The Blazer and Surface over to the inside. He's riding very hard on Hero, and Centre Crest went past him. Centre Crest, Surface is flying on the inside. Centre Crest in front of Hero. Surface and Furnish are absolutely flying. What a finish. They hit it. Oh boy, I don't know.
Noel Eels is one of New Zealand's best-known conditioners, but is equally well known for his aversion to travel. Consequently, he's seen only rarely in Australia, and usually only when his owners absolutely insist on a trip. Surface was a multiple Group 1 winner the previous season as a 4-year-old when Eels declared the gelding to be too immature to take to Australia. We've already observed that the standard of weight for age horses in New Zealand this season was not of a vintage level. So it was little wonder that when Frank Ritchie produced his brilliant South Australian Derby winner Shoella as a contender for the Group 1 Lion Red New Zealand Stakes, the punters bet until she came down to start at 2-1 favourite.
Cleese in front. Here's Rebel, just cruised up on the outside, and here comes Shoella. Rebel, Shoella are the two at the 200 metres. Cleese still whacking away on the inside. Shoella puts a head in front of Rebel and fights again. Cleese on the inside. Shoella just in front. Rebel still fighting hard from Cleese, and here's Rajika late. But Shoella, she's too good. She beat Rebel. Third at the line, Rajika.
Shoella's win saw connections packing their bags for an assault on the Sydney Autumn Carnival, with the Schweppes Sydney Cup her main mission. The race was a happy reunion for jockey Eddie Wilkinson, who'd won the South Australian Derby on Shoella the previous May. Wilkinson is now riding for Don Barchiger in Singapore and making a great success of the opportunity. When the top guns are doing battle in the $1 million Doncaster Handicap at Randwick, the best available milers in New Zealand go head-to-head in the Easter Handicap at Ellerslie. Just like the big handicap mile races in Australia, these are invariably traps for young players. And this year's renewal of the State Insurance Easter Handicap was no exception.
Heading in now, Creme d'Honneur, the leader from Zayard, takes over very quickly. 300 metres to go. 2 to Star of Gold, and now Cinderbella winding up. Zayard in front at the 200 metres now. Creme d'Honneur still whacking away. Cinderbella and Chizamini late. And here's O'Malley's boy right along the inside. Zayard well in front though with 100 metres to go. Is going to win the Easter. Cinderbella's racing into the minors. Going to the post. Resinier running on, but Zayard has won it.
Zayard won the Easter like a good horse, zooming clear to post a margin of 2 1/4 lengths on a track described as easy. The 5-year-old is prepared at Pukekohe near Auckland by Rex Sims and was handled by Matthew Williamson. There are 2 Group 1 races for 2-year-olds in New Zealand, and Brian will be back to present those when we deal with the Australian 2-year-old races later in the program. For horse insurance, call Logan's, the trusted name in horse insurance. Logan Livestock Insurance is all the protection you need for your valuable thoroughbred. Whether your stallion is valued at $25 million, as the payout on World Champion Cigar proved, or $25,000, Logan's will protect your investment, whether it be stallions, racehorses, mares, foals, yearlings, or unborn foals. Take advantage of over 34 years' experience. Call Logan's for friendly, helpful advice. The Logan's hotline is 02 9909 1499 or free call 1800 621 499. Logan's for horse insurance.
Spartacus in front, great performance, Spartacus.
Horses qualified for Super Vobis, race for extra prize money. For example, a Metropolitan 3-year-old race run on a Saturday carries a stake of $37,000. The Super Vobis bonus raises the total stake to $67,000. That's an extra $30,000 in prize money, but only if your horse is qualified for Super Vobis. Super Vobis bonuses are paid on all Metropolitan and Country 2- and 3-year-old events throughout Victoria, and on all 2- and 3-year-old group and listed events. For more information, contact Super Vobis on 03 9258 4666. Super Vobis, Alitalia, Abercrombie and Kent, simply the best way to travel.
The Australia Stakes meeting at Moonee Valley is always a popular one, but that popularity has gone to another level again in the 3 years since the race was first run under lights. The feature of this year's renewal of the Australia Stakes was the return to racing of the Caulfield Guineas winner Reduce Choice, the superbly talented Danehill colt who had conquered Testarossa in that memorable Caulfield Guineas in the spring.
Further back, Laurie's Lottery. On the inside, Miss Penny Money. 2 to Flavour, 3 Rustic Dream, 4 to Gold Guru before the turn. Theatre and Paint together. A length in front now from Reduced Choice. At the moment, Cassidy's niggling at the favourite, and St Christoph has pushed it out of the way. Miss Penny Money coming with a run. They wheel for home. Paint first for home. Reduced Choice is gone. Miss Penny Money's the one. The 3-year-old filly exploded away. She's home. She's kicked to the lead from St Christoph and Reduced Choice. Miss Penny Money, the filly, blitzes them. Wins 2 lengths, Reduced Choice. Miss Penny Money gave young Caulfield trainer Jim Conlon his maiden Group 1 win. But as we'll soon see, her star was still very much on the rise. Meanwhile, connections of Testarossa had chosen an alternative campaign for their star 3-year-old. Trainer Dean Lawson prepared the Perugino colt for return to racing in the Group 1 Lightning Stakes over 1,000 metres at Flemington on February 13.
At the 300 metres, Magic Music got to Whisker. Childs went for the whip. So did Preble on Far Rain, and Magic Music leads a length at the 100. Felvalon and Testarossa are coming now. Testarossa's going to blow him away in the last 100. He descends and comes away, and Testarossa, a magnificent return, beating Felvalon a length and a half.
With Testarossa having determined the autumn standard at Flemington, Miss Penny Money and Reduced Choice had their rematch the following weekend in the Group 1 CF4 Stakes over 1,400 metres at Caulfield. Despite his defeat at the hands of the filly at Moody Valley, Reduced Choice was sent out favourite at 7 to 4.
As they swing the corner where Reduced Choice the leader, it'll be a sprint home. Round the corner he comes. Miss Penny Money is out to tackle him. Umrum gets up to third on the outside, and then Zapor. Reduced Choice with Miss Penny Money. She throws down the gauntlet again at the 200 metres. Miss Penny Money the outside. Reduced Choice. Beatman throwing everything at the big colt on the inside. What a great battle clear of Indigaze. Reduced Choice and Miss Penny Money with on the outside Indigaze, but Reduce is back and a fighting win.
This was Group 1 number 4 for Reduced Choice, arguably the most naturally talented of all Danehill's sons. In fact, of all the Danehill sire sons throughout the world, only Dane Wynne has won more Group 1 races. Reduced Choice was trained throughout his career by the astute Rick Orlacey and will now take up stud duties at the superb Arrowfield Stud Scone in the lush Hunter Valley of New South Wales.
The Oakley Plate is said to be Australia's most gruelling test of speed. It's 1,100 metres of sustained pressure from start to finish, with the form usually carrying over to the Rich Newmarket Handicap at Flemington 2 weeks later. This year was different, with a soft track reducing the field and eliminating many chances. The favourite at 6 to 4 was Felvalon, the Queensland speedster who'd met defeat for only the first time at the hands of Testarossa in the Lightning Stakes.
As they neared the corner, Cullen, Rancho Spark, the 2 leaders. Felvalon moving up to third, and then Natois. They're followed by Gold again, and Sports coming right around the outside. Mint of Gold sneaking up on the fence as they corner. Rancho Spark, Cullen with Felvalon coming after it. Sports out wider, and they're followed by Natois and Mint of Gold on the rail at the 200 metres now. And Felvalon had raced up with Sports to go to Rancho Spark, who's giving plenty on the inside. Sports out wide, Felvalon and Rancho Spark. Sports the outside, puts his head in front of Felvalon and Rancho Spark, and Sports has won it by a half a length to Felvalon and Rancho Spark.
Danny Nikolic has been out of the Group 1 winners' circle for 12 months since Reduced Choice had won the Blue Diamond Stakes. But he made no mistake on the John Hawkes trained Sports. This son of Zeditev has been something of a quiet achiever in recent years, and the Oakley Plate was a fitting reward for a genuine and consistent performer.
This season's Futurity Stakes was a rarity, an all-age Group 1 sprint where all runners were members of the 3-year-old generation. However, it still was a race to savour, with the star 3-year-old autumn juveniles Testarossa, Reduced Choice and Miss Penny Money all primed to peak under ideal conditions.
Testarossa the inside. Oliver hasn't gone for the whip, nor has Beedman on Reduced Choice. Now they come round the turn. Testarossa by nearly a length on Reduced Choice is accelerated brilliantly. Testa, he's got away on him. Shot 2 lengths in front now. Reduced Choice. Beedman had to go for the whip. He can't go on. Miss Penny Money's gone past him, but Testarossa's clear. He's powering away. Miss Penny Money tries hard, but Testarossa a brilliant winner.
Testarossa was brilliant here and cemented his place as the highest rating 3-year-old of the season. Unfortunately, soon after this win, the Grand Colt contracted a virus that saw him lose all form for the balance of the season. Damien Oliver rode Testarossa in his 3 Group 1 wins during the season. Trainer Jim Conlon bravely chose to press on with Miss Penny Money, knowing there would be no Testarossa when he got his filly to Flemington to contest the $500,000 Newmarket Handicap over the famous straight 1,200 metre track.
And the Tuaran Rancho Spark, the leaders. Miss Penny Money's ready to go, and then Toledo on the other side, and here comes Felvalon. Felvalon sprinting at the 200 metres, took over the running. Blackbean's coming after him, and Miss Penny Money will clear the grandstand side. Felvalon with El Morada, Blackbean and Miss Penny Money on this side. Blackbean getting to Felvalon, Miss Penny Money on the grandstand side. She might have won it on the outside.
Miss Penny Money is certainly bred in the purple, being a daughter of the 1993 Breeders' Cup juvenile winner Brocco from the former brilliant group-winning filly Bold Promise. She's therefore a half-sister to the 96 Golden Slipper winner Merlene, and is now one of the most valuable fillies in the country. Miss Penny Money's 2 Group 1 wins were the first in the career of Caulfield trainer Jim Conlon.
Smart Sydney colt Pins had stylishly won the first 2 legs of Melbourne's Autumn Triple Crown, the Alistair Clark Stakes and the Amy Classic. With the race morning defection of Redute's Choice, the Snippets colt was installed as short price favourite to add the Group 1 Australian Guineas to his already impressive resume.
And it's Diatribe, the favourite. Pins a length and a half away. Freemason third, Hill of Grace on the outside. Hades pulls out now to make its run around Oval Office, and Tributes had dropped out to last when they corner at the 450. Diatribe in front of Pins, and here comes Hill of Grace. Oval Office wider out is called on. Hades the deepest, and Freemason cantering in behind them. He can't get a crack at them at the 300. They're across the track with Hill of Grace and Pins going to the lead together. Freemason next, and back behind those Oval Office. It's Pins in front. He's finding something with 100 to go. Pins by about a length here. Freemason finally getting into the clear, but Pins in front, and Pins takes out the Guineas, beating Freemason. Unlucky.
Pins is just the latest in a long line of superior gallopers produced by the high-class Snippets, Australia's champion 3-year-old sprinter back in 1988. Pins is prepared by Sydney trainer Clary Connors, though much of the credit for the handling and preparation of the 3-year-old during the autumn must go to the trainer's son Heath, who captains the Connors family Melbourne operation. Clary also paid a wonderful tribute to Pins in a series of emotional post-race interviews. "I might have trained a few better horses than Pins," Connors said, "but I've never trained a braver one." At $1.25 million, the Australian Cup is second only to the Cox Plate as Australia's richest weight-for-age race. Because it lacked a big name like Octagonal or Saintly, this year's Australian Cup had an unlikely favourite, the Brian Mayfield Smith-trained Oliver Twist at 4-1, just ahead of the Sydney Warhorse Intergaze at 9-2.
From Zapor on the inside of Oliver Twist. 3 Labille down the middle arena, running on from Aero Smith and Streak. Intergaze at the 300 metre mark, starting to fold. Zapor after him with Oliver Twist on the outside, then Arena wider out. Intergaze at the 150, he's a length in front. Oliver Twist and Zapor try to get to him. Intergaze is giving plenty. The Big Red from Sydney's 2 lengths in front of Oliver Twist. Arena and Streak out wide, but it's Intergaze. Intergaze takes the cup.
This was Group 1 number 8 for Intergaze, and sealed his future as a stallion at the famous Widden Stud in New South Wales. Intergaze has won at racing's highest level each season from 2 to 6, and could prove to be an excellent source for strength, soundness, durability and constitution, not to mention positive racing temperament. The trainer throughout Intergaze's career has been Warwick Farm-based Rod Craig, while jockey Craig Carmody has been on board in all but one of those 8 Group 1 triumphs.
The Group 1 spotlight now shifts north to Sydney, where the carnival opens with a 2-meeting fixture at the western suburbs track of Warwick Farm. The Group 1 highlight over the 2 days is the Chipping Norton Stakes, with local champ Tie the Knot returning to defend the crown he seized so convincingly last year.
Here's an exciting race as they travel past the 450, and Carpion 3/4 Adam, a length the least, 1 to staging, Tie the Knot the widest of all, 2 lengths to Sheer on a length of the roughie, Brave Prince as they round the corner, Die's gone for the whip on Tie the Knot, Adam got past the early leader Carpion, here's Tie the Knot extending now, the big chestnut races to the lead at the 200, Tie the Knot in full flight from Adam Lease, followed by Staging and Brave Prince, it's Tie the Knot looking for his second success of Chipping Norton, and he's got to get it. What a beautiful horse.
That was Group 1 number 8 for Tie the Knot, with more to come. This year's Sydney Turf Club Carnival began the way of no carnival before it, with the Canterbury Guineas meeting staged as a night fixture. Like the Moonee Valley Racing Club in Melbourne, the STC has demonstrated a very strong commitment to night racing, and we're happy to report this inaugural nighttime Canterbury Guineas meeting was an outstanding success. The favourite for the Guineas was Fairway, successful in all 3 races of the Triple Crown Series the previous spring.
In fact, he accelerated Fairway. He put 2 lengths over Office, Cloth of Gold on the outside, and then Martree, but Fairway, he's going great guns at the 100. He's about 2 lengths Cloth of Gold and Oval Office, but this is the Canterbury Guineas to Fairway's imposing tally, and Fairway all the way.
The following Saturday at Rose Hill, Tie the Knot was back in action in the Group 1 Ranvet Stakes of 2,000 metres. 12 months earlier, in this very race, Tie the Knot had been first past the post, but lost the race in the steward's room to a protest from Glenn Boss, the rider of New Zealand Raider Darazari. On this occasion, Tie the Knot was a 5-4 on favourite to gain his revenge.
In fact, he's eased back and he's going to come 4 wide on the big chestnut. In the meantime, Arena got to the front. 250 to run Arena from Shoella. Tie the Knot is starting to warm up on the outside. He's a length and a half from Arena, but he's starting to close the gap. Arena's in front. Tie the Knot is starting to launch his claim now. The big chestnut draws level with Arena. Tie the Knot, he does too well and he makes amends for his protest defeat last year.
The Sydney Turf Club Carnival includes one race that's unique to the national Group 1 calendar. The Coolmore Classic is a handicap race for fillies and mares worth $500,000 and decided over 1,500 metres at Rose Hill. Usually wide betting is the order of the day in the Coolmore Classic, but not this year. Connections of 14 rivals were shuddering at the unnerving presence of BMW Cox Plate winner Sunline, who was given the task of emulating the Great Emancipation with a handicap weight of 60 kilos.
And Greg Childs asking this mighty mare from the Shaky Isle, Sunline, for her sprint, and she obliged. Sunline down to the 250, more than a length on Beat the Fade, and 2 lengths further back, Flickering Fire, followed by Noasia. Sunline under the 60 kds, and on the inside, fighting back is Beat the Fade, but Sunline, she's something special, she's a champ.
You won't be surprised to learn there was much more to come from the mighty Sunline. Another week later, and the third day of the STC Autumn Carnival, is highlighted by the $500,000 Daily Telegraph Rose Hill Guineas, the second leg of the autumn treble for 3-year-olds. With the Canterbury Guineas already in the bag, the dominating Fairway was dispatched a piping hot 10-9 favourite.
And here, it's Fairway in front. Brian York's taken him wide out, abstained the roughies, joined Fairway and put his nose in front. Cloth of Gold the inside, Diatribe is warning up, and then Oval Office on the outside. Well, Fairway, he's beaten, and Diatribe shot through on the inside. Crawl is chasing him. Then Cloth of Gold and Freemason from a long way back. Diatribe is the leader. Freemason and Crawl can't get Diatribe, and Diatribe wins the Rose Hill Guineas.
New Zealander John Thompson is fiercely patriotic, in case you hadn't noticed from his racing colours of black with a silver fern. Diatribe gave Thompson his biggest success in racing with this dominating win. Diatribe is also the most significant winner to date for former Woodlands Coolmore stallion Brief Truce, who had been sold to the Northern Hemisphere before being re-secured for stud duties in Victoria for the 2000 season.
The George Ryder Stakes has run over 1,500 metres of weight for age on the third day of the Rose Hill Festival. It's a race which in recent years has been dominated by 3-year-olds and to a lesser extent the 4-year-olds. But an adjustment to the weight for age scale 2 years ago has suddenly made the older horses competitive once more.
Straightening Al Mansour more than a length on Adam. Tudor Referral into the Clear Dignity Dancer. Testarossa. Higher is next, and the others headed then on the outside by L.A. Suez. The leader is Al Mansour, 120 to go. Referral trying hard to pick him up with Adam Higher, and then Bonanova flying. Al Mansour still in front, and Al Mansour wins the rider from the tighties.
Al Mansour is now a 5-year-old, but success at racing's ultimate level was nothing new to him. In fact, the Attalac gelding had been one of the leading 2-year-olds 3 seasons ago when prepared by Bruce McLaughlin in Queensland. New trainer John Size did one of his renowned rejuvenation feats on Al Mansour, who combined here with the rapidly emerging jockey Lenny Beasley to leave his rivals with no excuses.
The first of 2 Group 1s for the 3-year-old fillies in New South Wales is the Ansett Australia Stakes. The standout runner looked to be New Zealand's Hill of Grace, an impressive last start winner of the Moonee Valley Oaks, but the locals found it hard to come up with anything more than token opposition.
They sprint now, coming to the corner at the 500, and Glimmers in front, only a half length or so. Moving up to put the pressure to Glimmers on the outside. So let's Hill of Grace is into the clear, and on the inside, Star Watch Adalta is joining in. They run down to the 200. Glimmers, Hill of Grace and Adalta followed then on the inside. So let's but Hill of Grace and Adalta. Here's the roughie Kirkstall Lane from Miss Zoe. It's Hill of Grace, Adalta, Kirkstall Lane, Miss Zoe, but Hill of Grace, she's a goodie. She pulls out plenty.
The Ansett Australia Stakes has an imposing honour roll. Research, Northwood Plume, Denendry and Champagne being included among the winners of the previous decade. Hill of Grace, a daughter of champion sire Zabeel, is owned in similar interest to Champagne, who trained on at 4 to win the McKinnon Stakes and finish a close second in the Melbourne Cup. Just watch out that Hill of Grace doesn't make comparable progress.
The defection of Intergaze left the 2000 Mercedes Classic looking a bit empty with just 8 starters. Happily, we had the opportunity once again to enjoy the marvellous Tie the Knot, chasing his 10th win at Group 1 level.
They straighten up. He's trying to get through. Die on, Tie the Knot. Is there room on the inside? There is. Showella hits the front. Arena after it, and Tie the Knot is starting to warm up on the inside. 200 to go. Showella, Arena. Tie the Knot on the inside is coming at them now. Tie the Knot, Showella, Arena. Tie the Knot. He's going home better. What a horse. Back-to-back Mercedes.
Horses don't win 10 Group 1s unless they are of true championship status. The last horse to do it was Octagonal, and even a great horse like Better Loosen Up was retired after 8. Darren Beedman rode Tie the Knot in the first of his Group 1s, but the brilliant Shane Dye has been the Chestnut's pilot ever since. Tie the Knot is prepared by Guy Walter for owner breeders Sandy Tate and Jill Nivison.
This year's Australian Jockey Club Autumn Carnival was one with a difference. For the first time, it was an $8 million race day, featuring 3 Group 1s, with the centrepiece being the $2.5 million Sam Miguel Doncaster handicap. Discussions on the Doncaster were dominated by Sunline, winner of the Big Metric Mile 12 months earlier as a 3-year-old filly. Her handicap of 57.5 kilos meant she had to establish a weight-carrying record for a mare, but that didn't stop her army of supporters from backing her down to favouritism at 11-4. The powerful John Hawkes team had 3 strong chances: Higher, Over and Dangerous, all members of the 3-year-old age group.
Higher is a long way out of its ground with Bonanova, and then comes L.A. Suez, and the last pair are Noirseer and Market Price around the corner, and the mighty mare Sunline goes to the lead, and straightening up in the San Miguel Doncaster on Sunline, a length and a half clear, Over second, about 4 lengths away to Dangerous, followed by Referral. Sunline under the 57.5. Greg Childs goes for the whip now. Over's a half length away. Sunline, nothing if not game. Over has got her, I'd reckon, yeah, with a pull in the weight. Over grabs the lead, and Over wins the Doncaster from Sunline, gallant in defeat.
Exactly 10 years earlier, Over's sire Dr. Grace had swamped Stylish Century to win the AJC Australian Derby at this very meeting. Over had put the writing on the wall last spring with 2 excellent wins in Melbourne in the Carbine Club Stakes and Sandown Guineas, and had looked unlucky when third to Lord Essex in the Far Lap Stakes at his last run before the Doncaster.
Steward's inquiries and analysis of swab samples shed no light on the failure of Fairway in the Rosehill Guineas, and for that reason he was allowed to drift to the silly odds of 12-1 for the $2 million AJC Australian Derby. On the strength of his late closing 5th in the Guineas, Victoria Derby hero Blackfriars was sent out the top fancy at 2-1, with his shadow Shogun Lodge second choice at 11-2.
Fairway first for home, and up the rise. Fairway a length now, Voyager. Hill of Grace putting in her claim with Shogun Lodge, and then Bias Bay, and Blackfriars is under the whip. Down to the 200. Fairway, he's giving a mighty sight. He's a length and a half on Shogun Lodge, who looks the only possible danger, but it's Fairway in full flight, and Fairway and Brian York win the AJC Australian Derby.
Brian York was hailed the hero of this piece, with a front-running ride that was coldly calculated to deceive. Ultimately, the backmarkers were never a factor in the Derby, and Fairway's last 600 metres in 34.42 made it impossible for anything to come from behind. Fairway is a member of the first crop of the 1994 Golden Slipper winner Dan Zero, who in turn was from the first crop of champion sire Danehill. The Derby took Fairway's earnings to $2.2 million, and was his 9th win from just 14 starts.
The Galaxy is Sydney's equivalent of the Oakley Plate, an open handicap over 1,100 metres in which the speed is on from the outset. Through the San Miguel sponsorship, the value of the race this year was multiplied almost 300% to $1 million and consequently attracted the best available field of sprinters. Remember, this is the race that was won by superstar sprinters such as Bletchingley, Luskin Star, Snippets and the champion Scalacci.
Padstow followed by Toledo and Guineas next, and 2 lengths to Miss Penny Money. Magic Music down to the 250, a half length clear. Here's Commands representing Big Danger, and quickly Commands raced up to take the lead from Magic Music, Padstow and Black Bean. Black Bean scooting up on the inside, Commands the leader. Black Bean is flying. Black Bean runs to Commands. Black Bean or Commands in a tight finish.
A protest by Larry Cassidy, rider of Commands, for interference near the line was ultimately rejected, but not before giving connections of Black Bean some very anxious moments. This was the maiden Group 1 win for young Flemington trainer Matthew Ellerton and represented another milestone in the unfolding career of Melbourne's new premier jockey, Brett Prebble.
7 days after the Doncaster, Sunline returned for her season swan song in the Group 1 All-Age Stakes over the same 1,600 metre Randwick circuit. It was a rematch with her Doncaster nemesis, Over, except that under weight for age conditions there was a huge weight turnaround in Sunline's favour. The champion mare dominated proceedings in the betting ring, and as you'll see, it was exactly the same out on the track.
About to be grabbed by the mighty mare Sunline, who strode away, and on top of the rise with 300 to go, Sunline put 2 Georgie Boy, then Over, followed at the head of the others by Final Fantasy, but down past the 200 Sunline. Greg Childs just flicking the whip at her. She's about 2.5 Georgie Boy and Over, but this is easy pickings for Sunline. This champion mare streaks away from Georgie Boy and then Over, but what a breeze for Sunline.
The picture for this year's Group 1 AJC Australian Oaks became slightly confused when Ansett Australia Stakes winner Hill of Grace ran such a moderate 5th behind Fairway in the Derby after being handily placed throughout. Trainer Robert Prescott proceeded with plans to run Hill of Grace in the Oaks, but most had the uneasy feeling that the favourite was vulnerable. Outside of VRC Oaks winner Tributes, the field seemed to lack its usual substance.
Can Hill of Grace keep going? Dotteress of the inside from Hill of Grace. Spotswood in 3rd position. Then Miss Zoe Fly by Night Tributes. And getting a split, Coco Cabana now goes out after and takes over. And at the 200, Coco Cabana. Di goes for home on the Gay Waterhouse filly. Oh, she's home. Coco Cabana has raced away with a winning lead in the Oaks. Tributes battles on. And then Miss Zoe, but Coco Cabana has blitzed them.
This was a new winner following an old but proven script. Coco Cabana was identified as a 2-year-old in New Zealand by astute form assessor Robbie Waterhouse, husband of trainer Gay. As they had done with Group 1 winners Stony Bay, Electronic, Hula Flight and Enjoyment previously, a partnership was formed to buy Coco Cabana, and the trainer did the rest, taking the Casual Lies filly from maiden to Group 1 winner in a single preparation.
A week after the Australian Oaks and All-Age Stakes, the AJC hosted the $800,000 Schweppes Sydney Cup a week later than in past years. This year, interest in the Cup centred on the history-defying attempt by Tie the Knot to land the 3,200 metre handicap for the 3rd successive year under the steadier of 60 kilos. After winning the Mercedes Classic from Arena at Rose Hill, Tie the Knot also had landed the Group 2 AJC St Ledger in his final preparatory race for this bold grab at immortality.
They straighten up in the Cup. Here's Ronnie. More than a length, Zexabeel Strange. 2 lengths to Streak and a length and a half to Tie the Knot. And Shah's K is zooming down the outside. Tie the Knot is struggling. Here's the old fella, Shah's K after Streak. They beat off. Here's Ronnie and Strange. Streak and Shah's K, stride for stride in the Cup. Streak on the inside. He's just the leader from Shah's K. Streak ridden for dear life. And Streak and Stephen King, all the way from Ballarat.
Streak had threatened to win a big race for some time, but had stretched the patience of punters who'd waited for him. Even so, there was plenty of merit in the Umatilla Geldings' effort to take this staying handicap by a half neck from the admirable veteran, Shaskay. Streak provided trainer Robert Smurden, a former jumps jockey, with his first Group 1 winner in what has been an extremely successful training career.
In its new slot at the back end of the AJC Carnival, the Queen Elizabeth Stakes has become one of the most important races on the national calendar. Jeune, Doremus and Might and Power adorn its list of recent winners, while the wonderful Indigo's won it twice. This year's field seemed to lack one of those high-profile gallopers, but the race still proved to be something of a revelation.
Around the corner, and little Lenny Beasley going for home on Georgie Boy. It's 2 lengths on Cronus. Into Gaze, Referral, Higher is struggling, and then Bonanova. Georgie Boy at the distance, 200 to run. He's 2.5 lengths clear on Cronus. They can't get the boy. Followed by Referral, and then into Gaze and Shogun Lodge, but it's Georgie Boy. He's in full flight, and he'll win the QE. Georgie Boy has won it brilliantly from either Cronus or Referral.
Georgie Boy was a welter performer 2 runs earlier and didn't have enough weight to beat the ballot for the Doncaster handicap. Instead, trainer John Size headed him for the weight for age races, and in the space of 2 weeks, the former New Zealander became a quality middle-distance galloper. This was the second Group 1 winner for Size, following Al Mansour 4 weeks earlier. And once again, the winning jockey was Lenny Beasley.
For horse insurance, call Logan's, the trusted name in horse insurance. Logan Livestock Insurance is all the protection you need for your valuable thoroughbred. Whether your stallion is valued at $25 million, as the payout on World Champion Cigar proved, or $25,000, Logan's will protect your investment, whether it be stallions, racehorses, mares, foals, yearlings, or unborn foals. Take advantage of over 34 years' experience. Call Logan's for friendly, helpful advice. The Logan's hotline is 02 9909 1499 or free call 1800 621 499. Logan's for horse insurance. With the AJC's fabulous autumn meeting completed, we now head to Morphettville, the headquarters of racing in South Australia, for 5 Group 1 races that form the backbone of their successful annual meeting in May. The first of these is the Australasian Oaks for 3-year-old fillies over 2,000 metres. Because of the late Easter, this year's Australasian Oaks was actually run on the same day as the AJC Australian Oaks at Randwick, which undoubtedly explains why both races seem short of genuine Group 1 standard.
Williams went for home on Grandishy. Zoe gave her a dig in the ribs, but Talir going with her on the inside. 2 or 3 away, Maura Lee. Down the outside, starting to run on strongly now was Shazoo. She's putting in strides with Porto Rocker and Umaline, but Grandishy burst away. She's home now. Here comes the 4th Australasian Oaks for Lee Friedman, and the first Group 1 for Craig Williams, I believe.
Grandis showed plenty of class with her placing behind Hill of Grace in the Moonee Valley Oaks, and impressed as a very progressive filly. She certainly has the pedigree to support her classic aspirations, being by champion sire Zabeel from the former group-winning vice-regal filly, Richburg. Even though a valuable bonus was up for grabs, Grand Desjeux couldn't make it to Morphettville for the South Australian Oaks. The race was moved forward from the Goodwood Handicap meeting to the previous Wednesday, and this year attracted the attention of the trainer of AJC Australian Oaks heroine Coco Cabana, Gay Waterhouse.
She's 1.5 lengths in front. Coco Cabana out at exactly the right time. Porto Rocker nearer the inside. Umaline the widest runner from Talia. But Val Dior kicked to the 200. Oh, what a ride this has been. What a performance this has been by this filly. Val Dior charging away from Madame Plume. Coco Cabana and Porto Rocker, and was that a win? Val Dior, she won by 5 or 6. She could have got another lap.
This was the second front-running classic surprise from Val Dior, who had won the West Australian Derby in similar fashion last December. And the winning team was the same as at Ascot, trainer Joe Miller and jockey Jeff Noski. The South Australian Derby had become renowned in modern times as a race of upsets. It's also become a respected proving ground for future big race winners and potential Melbourne Cup horses. This year, the Derby attracted some serious interest from the East, with the participation of Rosehill Guineas winner Diatribe. The Brief Truce colt, who had disappointed on a biased track in Fairway's AJC Australian Derby, was sent out favourite at 11 to 10.
Turn for home, a length in front, but Blue Murder's about to lay down the challenge. 4 or 5 away, Ebony Honor. Wider out, Shore Blue, then Southern Supreme. Diatribe not in the race. At the 200, Valdior tackled now by Blue Murder. Cliffy Brown looking for his third South Australian derby, and Blue Murder burst away from Valdior. Mr. Nelson late with Shore Blue and Ebony Honor. This is getting tired, Blue Murder, but it's got a big break, and Cliffy Brown wins the South Australian derby again.
Blue Murder is the latest of more than 50 stakes winners for dual hemisphere stallion Bluebird, a son of international stud success Stormbird. The win provided 33-year-old Victorian trainer Cliff Brown a third South Australian derby in the space of 5 years. Remember the first race on this edition of the Australasian Racing Year? Don't worry about winding back. It was the Manicato Stakes at Moonee Valley and was won by outstanding 3-year-old Reduced Choice. Chasing him home under the weight for age conditions that afternoon was the game sprinter Mastic. When it came around to the South Australian Jockey Club's Group 1 Goodwood handicap over 1,200 metres, it was Mastic's turn to grab a minute in the limelight.
French clock not in the race nor accused, but Rain Dance Lady hard up against the inside lead. Perrat Gold after it. Strident starting to join in. A Mastic right down the outside. Mastic down the outside now moves up to Rain Dance Lady. Strident making ground with Zahiro. Mastic in front of Zahiro and Strident. Tony Vassell will win his first Group 1. Mastic for Aaron Spiteri.
Caulfield trainer Tony Vassell was a very good jockey until weight got the better of him. And now he's making a fine fist of the training caper. After a frustrating number of minor placings, Mastic finally gave Vassell his first Group 1 winner. A similar maiden status was broken by jockey Aaron Spiteri, who celebrated with a flamboyant backwards somersault out of the saddle. Frankie Dettori, eat your heart out. The Adelaide Cup was washed out on the Monday after the Goodwood handicap, and fate certainly stepped in on behalf of the owners of Victorian visitor Bohemiath. Had the Cup been run as usual on the Monday, Bohemiath would have been 1,000,000 to 1 on the rain-soaked track. But given a 5-day drying out period and a transfer to the spacious Victoria Park track, Bohemiath was suddenly in his element. From no-hoper to no-brainer in under a week. That was the improbable tale of the monster Bohemiath, adding yet another amazing chapter to a race that is already rich with history.
And Prince Standarm brings them into the home straight, leading narrowly from Zabuan the outside. Karazi moving up 3 deep. Starting to join in quickly now was Majestic Avenue. Behind those, Frenzal Rum saved ground near the inside. Skytrist not doing much. Bohemoth starting to join in now for the Gouch with a big run. And Lady Elsie right down the outside, but Bohemoth moved up to Majestic Avenue at the 300. Karazi still there. Then Ultra Smug, Lady Elsie and Royal Caliph, but Bohemoth for Gouchy broke clear in the Cup. Got a length in front of Karazi, Majestic Avenue. Then Ultra Smug, Oxford Dollar late, but Behemoth's home for the Gouch. And Behemoth wins the Cup. Behemoth first, Oxford Dollar dive through, probably got second.
Bohemiath had finished second to the Hind as a 3-year-old in the 1998 Cup when prepared by John Sadler. After Sadler's decision to retire from training last year, Bohemiath switched to the camp of Robert Smurden, a partner in the company Aquanita Racing that Sadler had established at Flemington. The win provided a third Group 1 triumph for the season for Blue Gum Farm stallion Umatilla, following the earlier successes of Umrum and Streak. The Cup completed a crackerjack season for Darren Gouchy, who'd also won the VRC Oaks with Tributes and the AJC Doncaster with Over. The late Easter this year meant the Sydney Carnival ran 2 weeks later than normal, and the Queensland race clubs were forced to act positively to prevent a negative flow-on effect to their carnival. The Brisbane Turf Club responded by having their Doomben 10,000 and Doomben Cup on the one afternoon, creating an opportunity they marketed as Super Saturday. The Doomben 10,000 is decided over 1,350 metres, and Queenslanders had no hesitation in supporting a local lad, Felvalon, into short-priced favouritism.
Felvalon hit the front, coming to the 200. Command second, followed by City Fair, and now Mr. Innocent and staging. Felvalon is the leader. Mr. Innocent is absolutely flying. Look at Easy Rocking, but Mr. Innocent took the lead from Easy Rocking close to home, and Mr. Innocent won the 10,000.
Mr. Innocent is one of those rags to riches stories that gives hope to those struggling to make it in the game. The chestnut was bought for a mere $5,000 as a yearling, but this victory boosted him to millionaire status. The win was a career first for veteran Coffs Harbour mentor Mel Gerard, one of the most popular horsemen in the business, and the steering department was competently handled by Glenn Collis. Brilliant 3-year-old Shogun Lodge had stylishly won the Group 3 Hollandale Cup at the Gold Coast 10 days before the Doomben Cup, and would have started favourite for the $500,000 weight for age race. However, when the track was given out as slow on race morning, trainer Bob Thompson was as good as his word and scratched Shogun Lodge. In his absence, the Doomben Cup suddenly looked a very winnable race. But by which horse?
But Akhenaten still in front at the 200 in a great trying hard. Cruzeiro on the outside, but Akhenaten is the leader with 100 metres left to go. Integrate can't make up the ground. Either can Cruzeiro, and Akhenaten will lead all the way and win the Doomben Cup. Integrate second, Cruzeiro third.
What a difference a few weeks can make in racing. Akhenaten came to Queensland still eligible for restricted races, but quickly stepped up to open grade by winning the Group 3 Doomben Classic over 1,600 metres. Just one start later, and the front-running Akhenaten is a Group 1 winner. The grey is by Snippers, who we saw featured earlier in the racing year as the sire of Melbourne Triple Crown winner Pins. The Fillies Classics had seemed below par all season, so it was no surprise to see the Queensland Oaks also lacking a little depth. South Australian Oaks winner Voile d'Or was a strongly fancied 5-1 chance, but the smart money was piled on the New Zealand visitor Giovanna, prepared by experienced Trans-Tasman handler Roger James. Giovanna had run a brave 4th against the males in the Grand Prix Stakes and looked the type to relish the step up to 2,400 metres.
Wild Door is beaten, and as they head for the judge, Giovanna putting in her bid on the outside, and she sprinted to the lead. She's bounded away, the New Zealand filly. 200 metres to go. Giovanna's raced away from them, 4 lengths in front. City Recruiter's out of the pack, and she's flying home, and then a Vilde and Asdam. But it's all Giovanna inside the final 100 metres. She's going to bolt in the Oaks. Giovanna to the line by 3 lengths.
What a story this turned out to be. Giovanna, a daughter of the Bluebird horse Blues Traveller, had been sold as a yearling, but lost her sight in one eye in a paddock accident. Breeder Carol Marshall, who was looking after the filly for the new owner, was generous enough to refund the purchase price because of the overwhelming possibility the filly would never race. Anyhow, by a quirk of fate, Giovanna's eye repaired progressively over the next 12 months, and now Carol Marshall is the owner-breeder of an Oaks winner. The Grand Prix Stakes had seen Grand Lodge colt Freemason turn in a sparkling Derby trial, racing wide most of the way and keeping on strongly to the line for second to local galloper Make My Magic. Freemason had another credit too, having won the Frank Packer Plate during the AJC Carnival, a race won previously by horses like Dalmatia, Juggler, Might and Power, and the 1998 Queensland Derby winner Dodge.
Akhenaten's the leader. They're in the straight now. Maguire's got the run on the inside. Fairway and Freemason down the outside, finishing strongly. City Habits running into it as well. Freemason hit the lead. 200 metres to go. He shot away from Fairway. It's Freemason in front of Fairway. Citrus Prince is getting into the clear. He's charging home, but it's the Freemason in front as they draw to the line, and he's going to win the Derby. Freemason first, Citrus Prince second.
This was the 3rd Queensland Derby for trainer John Hawkes, following Tenor in 1994 and Dodge in 1998. It also provided the trainer with his 5th Group 1 for the season, making him the country's leading Group 1 mentor for 99-2000. The Stradbroke was elevated to $1 million race for the first time in 1996 and was won by the Friedman brothers with Dana Singer. In the interim, it has become a very high-rating race with winners like Dane Ripper, Toledo and Adam. This year, popular Doomben 10,000 hero Mr. Innocent was attempting to become the first horse since Campaign King in 1998 to complete Queensland's winter sprint double.
Next is Land Sighting on the inside of Mr. Innocent. Sheer on, working his way through in the middle. Majors just behind them. Staging's well back. They're in the straight, 300 metres to go. Falvalon's dashing quickly on the outside. Brighter Scena's going with him. Land Sighting's up on the inside to hit the lead. 200 metres to go. Land Sighting's just in front of Brighter Scene. Falvalon, Mr. Innocent, easy rocking. Land Sighting's in front. Chris is pushing him hard. I think he's going to win the Stradbroke. Land Sighting first. Mr. Innocent second.
Most Group 1 wins are emotion charged to some extent, but this one was hard to top. Land Sighting was almost dead 12 months ago, having undergone knee surgery before plunging into a toxic state when the knee picked up a post-operative infection. Landsighting's rehabilitation was due to the tireless efforts of trainer Noel Mayfield-Smith, his partner Emma, and his loyal staff at Hawkesbury. This was Mayfield-Smith's second Group 1 win, the first being the ill-fated Angst in the AJC Flight Stakes back in 1993. That leaves just one feature race for the older horses in the Australasian Racing Year, the Group 1 Channel 9 Brisbane Cup, a handicap race over the ultimate flat distance of 3,200 metres. Most horses in the field came in for solid support at some stage of betting, but punters ultimately fell for the Larry Cassidy factor, siding with 1997 Queensland Derby winner Yippee-Yi-Yo.
And Yippee-Yi-Yo is dashing quickly on the outside to go to the lead. Brew is chasing Yippee-Yi-Yo. Yippee-Yi-Yo is a length in front of Brew. Shaskay's up to third, then Karasi. It's Yippee-Yi-Yo in front, 200 metres to go. Shaskay's coming up on the inside of Yippee-Yi-Yo. It's Yippee-Yi-Yo a half length in front of Shaskay. Yippee-Yi-Yo's hanging on. Yippee-Yi-Yo's going to win the Brisbane Cup. Yippee-Yi-Yo first.
3 years ago, on this same winter weekend, Yippee-Yi-Yo seemed to have the world at his hooves, with many good judges rating him the best 3-year-old stayer in the country after defeating Marble Halls and Summer Bow in the Queensland Derby. A virus that nearly claimed his life the following spring in Melbourne brought Yippee-Yi-Yo back to earth with a thud. The intervening 3 years have been tough, but he's remained a favourite with owner breeders Jeff and Beryl White.
That brings us to the final segment of the Australasian Racing Year, where we study the results of the major juvenile races in Australia and New Zealand for the season. This is the area I always find the most exciting because we're not only looking at the winners. Many of the minor place getters in these races will be the ones who make the quantum leap in improvement to become the big name players in the classic races next season of 3. New Zealand hosts 2 Group 1s for 2-year-olds, and the first of these is the Manawatu Sires Produce Stakes over 1,400 metres at the Central District's track of Awapuni. The favourite was the filly Spring Rain, a daughter of the ever-reliable Waikato stud stallion Centane.
Little Jamie from Spring Rain trying to come again, and Trinity College is flying. Little Jamie, Spring Rain, and Trinity College absolutely flying. Little Jamie wins the Sires.
Although the blanket finish doesn't suggest a particularly high-rating race, it's worth remembering that 2 years ago the winner of this race was Happy and You Know It, who went on to win at Grade 1 level in the USA. Little Jamie is the first Group 1 winner for Australian-based stallion St Jude, who fizzled out as a commercial stallion after a promising first season of representation.
The Roger James-trained Spring Rain looked unlucky in that event and gained her opportunity to make amends in the Group 1 4-dealer team Sires Produce Stakes at Ellerslie on April 29.
And it's Winged Foot, the one that's dashed up and taken over complete control. Spring Rain is battling away in second place. The late runs are from Sleepy Trip, Albert and Starboard. Winged Foot's got them well beaten with 150 metres to go. Charging home now, La Belladama after being last, but Winged Foot, a wing on every foot, races away, racing into second. Hey, pronto.
In the space of just 84 seconds, Winged Foot became the success signature for the brief but trouble-plagued stud career of Maroof, the Danzig stallion who died at Cambridge Stud earlier in the season.
The Mercedes-Benz Blue Diamond Stakes is Victoria's richest 2-year-old race. It's now worth $1 million and is part of the new Triple Crown Incentive Series. This year, the favourite at 11-8 was the unbeaten Danehill filly Mannington, a daughter of the 1993 Golden Slipper heroine Bint Masquet. Danehill's exciting first-season sire son Flying Spur had a well-credentialed runner in Ponton Flyer from the stables of Tommy Hughes Jr. The Veuve Clicquot Stakes, which last year provided the Blue Diamond winner in Reduced Choice, was this year won by Road to Success, who came further into diamond calculations following the engagement of jockey Jim Cassidy.
As they near the corner now, Road to Success, the inside, and Tennessee Midnight share the lead. In behind those, Sparks is hard-ridden. Operetta's got into some trouble there. Pulled to the outsider's top perch, and Mannington's going to come wide and have the last sweep at them. Into the straight. Road to Success, led from Tennessee Midnight. Happy Giggle, wider out, coming on from Lord Dane, running home well. And now Mannington called on for the big run. Road to Success, the leader though, kicked out by 2 lengths. Mannington out very wide, is starting to come home, and then Ponton Flyer. But it's Road to Success in front, down on the inside. She's tired, holding on and wins. Road to Success has won the diamond.
Road to Success was easily the most important success to date for young Caulfield trainer John Salinitri, a one-time foreman for retired champion trainer Angus Armanasco. The gelding is by Bluebird's sire's son Dolphin Street, who formerly stood at Colin Grove Stud, but who had been on-sold prior to this milestone win. That perennial success story, Jim Cassidy, was the winning jockey, and this was one of 7 Group 1 successes for him over the course of the season.
Pod and Flyer's second to road to success was full of merit, and punters backed her down to 6-4 on favourite to make amends in the Group 1 VRC Sires Produce Stakes at Flemington 2 weeks later. Second favourite at 4-1 was Preserve, a canny lad filly prepared by John Hawkes.
Preserve in front of Happy Morning. On the outside, Danachenka. Shot of Thunder coming out wide on the course, followed by Pod on Flyer. But Preserve still in front. There's 120 metres to go. Preserve a length and a half in front of Pod on Flyer, Happy Morning and Danachenka. Preserve kept going, and Preserve for Neville Wilson takes out the sires from Pod on Flyer.
Riding a front runner well is a special skill, and few have it to the same extent as veteran Western Districts jockey Neville Wilson. This part-time jockey, full-time dairy farmer is used as a pinch hitter by all the leading stables, and his winning strike rate is the envy of most rival jockeys. Preserve certainly had the pedigree for a Sires Produce winner. Her sire, Canny Lad, won the race in 1990, and she is the second foal of Peach, a daughter of the 1969 Sires Produce winner, Vane.
The more the form of the Sydney 2-year-olds became exposed, the more the Golden Slipper looked like a replay of the Magic Millions, a match between Assertive Lad and Belle de Jour. Assertive Lad won the Skyline Stakes at Canterbury and then had a barrier trial as his final slipper leader. Belle de Jour won that renowned slipper curtain race at the Kindergarten Stakes at Warwick Farm before taking the Riesling trial at Rose Hill. And the Lee Friedman team descended on Rose Hill with the Scopy Danehill daughter Crown Glory, whose damn significant moment is a half-sister to the mighty Zabeel. Now they're under starters' orders for the $2 million Amy Golden Slipper Stakes.
Data on the stand, presses the button, they're off, and Belle de Jour bungled the start. The rider almost went over ahead, and French Braids and King of Danes bounced out in front, going up very, very quickly. Phoenix Park with Great Crusader misunderstood. Assertive Lad is caught out very, very wide as they settle fully into stride. Followed at the head of the others then by Fate Gallant, making ground, Road to Success, and then comes Operettas. A length the Crown Glory. Further back in the field is De France. A length further off and trapped right out off the track is Kutamutu. About 2.5 lengths further away in the field is Veteran, followed by Preserve, Belle de Jour and Continuum. Racing past the 500, King of Danes the leader from Great Crusader. Phoenix Park fourth is Assertive Lad, and then Road to Success, and further back in the field is Fate Gallant as they straighten up. All Fate Gallant's rider in some trouble, and then Kutamutu at the 250, and King of Danes the leader. Great Crusader is tackling it strongly, a length Assertive Lad and Phoenix Park, and then French Braids Continuum, and down the outside Crown Glory. Here she comes. Crown Glory is out after Assertive Lad, who hit the front, and Belle de Jour right through the middle. Freakish win. Belle de Jour almost fell at the start, gets the Golden Slipper.
Never has a mounting yard erupted into such pandemonium after a big race. Belle de Jour's managing part owner is advertising guru John Singleton, the original Aussie larrikin. He promptly arranged to shout Tooheys beer for everyone in the public bar, the account for which came to around $30,000. His partners in the filly, former Prime Minister Bob Hawke and veterinary surgeon Jerry Rose, were each convinced to play up some of the team's winnings on the black filly. So Singleton organised them to have a bet of $1 million to $100,000 with leading bookmaker Colin Tidy. Then Belle de Jour gave everyone heart palpitations by missing the start hopelessly before storming home late to a highly improbable, if not unbelievable, victory. It was a first Golden Slipper winner for jockey Lenny Beasley, but the fourth this decade for trainer Clary Connors. As stories go, they don't come much more outrageous than this one. But that was the slipper of the year 2000.
The Assertive Lad Belle de Jour rematch was scheduled to take place in the Group 1 AJC Sires Produce Stakes over 1,400 metres at Randwick 2 weeks after the slipper. The players remained the same, Lenny Beasley on Belle de Jour and Shane Dye on Assertive Lad. However, their appearances in the mounting yard were contrasting. Assertive Lad was in full bloom, appearing to have come on strongly since the slipper. Belle de Jour, on the other hand, looked to have lightened off as a result of her Rosehill exertions.
It's the gelding Assertive Lad, about a neck in front from the filly Belle de Jour. Len Beasley first to go for the whip on Belle de Jour, but she is not giving in without a kick. Assertive Lad, the outsider, neck in front of Belle de Jour, and then comes Reenact warming up on the outside, but Assertive Lad is the leader. Reenact is coming home quickly. Assertive Lad is tiring. He'll hang on. Yep, he's just won it.
Belle de Jour went straight to the spelling paddock after that run, but Assertive Lad stuck around an extra week in a bid to add the Group 1 Moet and Chandon Champagne Stakes to his resume.
She's a pretender, followed by the Ruffy Re-Rinker, and then Shot of Thunder Reenactors well back as they race to the 200. Assertive Lad, given full rein by Di, quickly race past the stablemate Clonmel, and Australia's top 2-year-old Assertive Lad, living up to his name, he raced clear of Clonmel, then Re-Rinker, but Assertive Lad wins the Champagne brilliantly from Clonmel.
Assertive Lad is the latest high-class galloper to be sired by Zedatev, the former champion Melbourne sprinter, who has done such a fine job as a sire at Newhaven Park Stud. The 2-year-old is the kid brother to Assertive Lass, a fine filly of a few seasons back, and best remembered for her Group 1 duels with the beautiful Danehill filly Dashing Eagle.
During the month of May, the champion sire Masqué died as a result of post-operative complications at Scone in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales. Masqué, the 1982 Golden Slipper winner, had been Australia's champion sire twice and had also topped the 2-year-old sires table in 1993, leaving superior performers like March Hare, Triscay, Jetball, Marwina and Blazing Sword. One of the most exciting 2-year-olds of the season from a viewpoint of future potential was Masqué's son Reenact, who put his wares on display in the Group 1 QTC Sires Produce Stakes at Eagle Farm.
Madison getting into the clear. Ombre Della Sierra storming home as adjudicator, and Reenactors winding up on the outside. Lady Moulin went for a run. She missed it. Rapid Man in front. Look at Reenact. He's charging on the outside. Reenact went to Rapid Man and adjudicator. Reenact first.
What an appropriate result for owners Jeff and Beryl White, who brought Masqué for $50,000 as a yearling back in 1981 and were with the Big Chestnut every step he took along the path to success. Reenact turned in a huge performance here, but he'll need to start getting his act together if he's to convert that potential to results as a 3-year-old. After all, no horse can afford to be giving away such huge starts when they get to the Classic.
The final Group 1 race for juveniles was the T.J. Smith Stakes, formerly known as the Castlebane Classic, but renamed in honour of the late, great Tommy Smith, the 34 times champion trainer of Sydney who died in 1998. After his barnstorming win in the QTC Sires Produce Stakes, the team of Reenact and Gavin Duffy was sent out favourite ahead of the Bob Thompson-trained Lady Mulan.
And shortly after, Showerhut bounded to the lead and shot away from them. It's Showerhut in front, 250 metres to go, leading by 3 lengths, leading by 4 lengths. He's 5 in front. Showerhut well clear of Chicky Lovelorn, then Lady Mulan, Rapid Man and Adjudicator, but it's all Showerhut. He's giving them a galloping exhibition and they're under the line, and he bolts in the T.J. Smith.
This win was one of the revelations of the carnival, with Showerhut giving his opponents an absolute galloping lesson over the final 400 metres. The youngster's win further underlined the tragedy of the early death of his sire, the 1993 Magic Millions winner, Brave Warrior, who stood in Queensland at Eureka Stud and made such a mighty impact with his first crop of runners.
That's the way it was in the 1999-2000 Australasian Racing Year. John Hawkes was the new champion trainer at Group 1 level with 5 individual winners: Tributes, Sports, Preserve, Over and Freemason. It's just the latest in a series of accomplishments for a man who should be getting used to breaking records. Since Hawkes first agreed to train for multi-millionaire Chicken Kings Jack and Bob Ingham in November 1993, he has trained the impressive tally of 37 Group 1 winners. The biggest improver among the training ranks was New Zealand's Robert Prescott, who landed the 2,000 Guineas and Bayer Classic with Buzz Lightyear, the Ellerslie Sires with Wingfoot, and the Ansett Australia Stakes in Sydney with Hill of Grace. Well done, Robert. Bart Cummings deserves a special mention for his 3 Group 1 winners. At 72 years of age, the maestro shows no sign of shortening stride, and his sense of big race timing remains the best in the business. An 11th Melbourne Cup made the season all the more memorable for this living legend. This season also marked the emergence of Randwick trainer John Size, who won his first ever Group 1 with Al Mansour in the George Ryder Stakes, then backed up later in the Autumn Carnival with the little-known Georgie Boy, who smashed them in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Likeable Guy Walter won another 3 Group 1s with the evergreen Tie the Knot, while young Melbourne trainer Dean Lawson did likewise with champion 3-year-old Testarossa. New Zealand's Trevor McKee did likewise with Sunline, as did Rick Orlacey with Reduced Choice. Hong Kong-bound Shane Dye was again the top Group 1 rider on either side of the Tasman, with a tally of 8. Hot in pursuit was the pumper Jim Cassidy with 7, while Brett Preble enjoyed his best ever season with 5, and Brian York, Greg Childs and Damien Oliver each finished the season with 4. One of the strange things about this season was that we witnessed a feat of near greatness and seemed not to recognise it. Fairway emulated Kingston Town, Best Western and Sir Dapper by winning the Spring Triple Crown in Sydney, and then won 2 of the 3 legs of the Autumn Triple Crown. The only other horse in 22 years to win 5 of the 6 was Kingston Town himself. If Fairway had landed the Rosehill Guineas as well, instead of labouring home with that mysteriously below par 9th at 10-9 favourite, we'd still have been talking about him in reverent tones in 2 or 3 decades' time. Sunline, Tie the Knot, Fairway, Pins, Assertive Lad and Belle de Jour each made a major contribution to making the 18th Australasian Racing Year another unique collection. I'm Brian Martin, and on behalf of Danny Finley, Gary Gray and the entire Raceplay team, it's been our privilege to have been with you once again for the 18th edition of the Australasian Racing Year.